What up, everyone? How's it going? Hope you guys are having a wonderful day today. It's me. I am here. Jason is elsewhere for the time being, but he should be along shortly, I believe. I haven't heard anything otherwise. How are you guys doing today? What lies? I would never, ever, ever do anything of this sort, you guys. You know me well enough, I would never do that, right? Right? He's pooping. Thanks, Jen. Glad we got the update. I can hear him, though, which is kind of disturbing, so... That was a quick poop.
You didn't poop?
Jen said you were pooping.
No. I poop in the morning. I'm very regular.
Yeah, me too.
Hi.
Hello! Hi, guys. I told you he would be here. Hello. Who we got here? We got Paint Liquor, we got Arctic Mini Painting Studio,
About Jen's like
Mose,
pooping.
Siobhan.
I was talking to Philip, new guy Phil.
Uh-huh.
I had to answer 2 last emails.
Yeah.
That's what I was
Yeah.
doing.
You know what's really funny?
What?
So you know how I had plans with Phil this weekend? And Jacob's telling me. Phil literally came over, he was like, hey, are you going to go do the thing? I was like, I don't know. Maybe. He was like, you should go do the thing.
Because he doesn't want to do the thing anymore?
Well, not that he doesn't. He was like, you should do this. Ah. Everyone is telling me to do a very impulsive thing. That
Hey, chat.
that I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up doing this weekend.
Dad, I need you to tell Baby J to go do the thing.
I'm going to need to take a minute to actually sign up because the signups end in 2 hours.
Everybody, chat. Hey, what the?
Well, huzzah, huzzah! I'll just
Hey,
throw
don't
back
look
my
at that, look at
legs
that.
and pollute my breath
Magic.
with delight.
Hey, look at that. Hey.
Magic.
Hey. Dun, da, da, da. It's working.
Should have locked the Arctic Mini Painting.
Rev 571, go sign up for the tournament. Did you
Yeah, go do the thing.
All right, I'm going to sign up for the tournament really quick.
Go do the thing.
I can talk to chat while I do this.
It's a card game he's never played, that Jacob has said he needs to play with him, and Jacob's driving to Palm Springs tonight to go play in this tournament tomorrow, and he doesn't want to go alone, so he's dragging Baby J.
I don't know if he's dragging me.
Now, I said to Baby J at the end, were you his first choice or his last choice?
I don't know.
That always drives my decision-making process. I'm like, how many people did you ask before me, Jacob?
I think he mentioned it to Ruben, and then I inquired what he was talking about, and then he was like, do you want to go? And I was like, I mean, maybe? And then Ruben's like, you should go. and then subsequently every single person in this office has said you should go, including Shelby.
You should go. Shelby said you should go too.
She was there for this conversation.
You're screwed.
It looks like I'm going.
You're screwed.
If I can get this stupid sign-up store.
Did you turn the AC down this morning?
No.
I did not.
I'll go do it.
Probably ought to do that.
I'll go do it. Yeah, I walked in here, I was like, it's really hot in here.
It's really hot in here today. Right, babe? Jen's like, road trip! Yeah, they're like all like young kids on a whim, drive to Palm Springs, live it up.
This is the bad influence. Right here.
Huh? No, we're not live at all. You should come over here.
Yeah, come on over.
Huh? Why would I lie to you?
You're literally
We're
standing in
not
front of the
lying
camera
to you.
right now.
Why? He says I always lie to him. We never lie to you. When have I ever lied to Jacob? Did he not? You're afraid to be on camera? Are you afraid to be on camera?
I'm not afraid.
You don't want anybody to see your face?
Yeah.
Jacob's in here eating lunch, gang. So everybody say hi, Jacob.
Hi, Jacob.
So Jacob, you got to be honest. Was Jordan your first choice or your last choice?
What?
To go to California.
For what? What kind of question is
I'd
this?
say like second.
Second? All right, that's good.
Who was your first? Fair enough. For this street address, do they want me to put in? Oh no, the city's right there.
Paylicker says, "Hi, Jacob. Glad Slowfuse didn't kill you." I didn't. I said I nearly gave him a heart attack the other day. Not that I killed him. Huh?
Did you threaten to kill me?
No, I didn't threaten to kill you. I told him about how you were walking down the hallway putting your sweater on, and I freaked you out. I said I nearly gave Jacob a heart attack today. They all chat has now said that it is that I tried to kill you. Somehow it got turned into that. So now they're like, "Hi, Jacob. Glad you're not dead." So. Siobhan, as trustworthy as you, someone who never lies. Okay. Let's tell some stories about Siobhan.
Those are just us.
Arctic Mini Painting says attempted murder. Very shameful. I gotta keep these kids on their toes around here, these little bastards. Young whippersnappers here at Monument Hobbies.
The actual member numbers.
I gotta remind him the old man still has tricks.
Well, Jacob, I've made a decision. It's gonna be interesting. 2, yeah.
You gotta come be on camera. You gotta wave at people. That's the tax for being in the room. You gotta come. You gotta let people see. This is Jacob.
It's Jacob.
Jacob's first time on stream. That's Jacob.
Hi. How's jambalaya?
Yeah, Christian made his big bucket of jambalaya. So
it is actually, he brought it in a big bucket.
It is a real bucket.
It is a real bucket. I saw it. I looked in the
hilarious.
fridge. I didn't have time to heat it up and feel comfortable about finishing it. I wanted to enjoy it, not gulp it down. So I did my 3-year-old wrap ham around a cheese stick.
You know what I just
Lunch.
realized? I didn't actually eat anything.
I know. I was gonna ask. Like, did you eat lunch?
No.
You didn't even eat lunch.
The first part of my lunch was me just like talking randomly about like
Chat,
Chick-fil-A.
Jordan's gonna die live on stream.
And then the last half of it was Jacob being like, "Hey, you should go do this thing," and then everybody else in the office being like, "You should go do this thing."
Well, no, they all said that's a terrible terms, and they're like, okay.
Yeah.
That's a terrible idea. I just don't like it's funny because I used to be the king of last minute road trips. You would tell me, "Hey, you want to go to New York?" I was like, "Yeah, sure. How are we getting there? Motorcycles? When are we leaving?" 2 hours. I'm like, let me pack.
I mean,
like-
I'm a really impulsive person, so it's not surprising to be able to get me to do something like this. You're not impulsive?
It seemed like you're theologically.
I love how Jacob's back
Look,
there going, "I am not impulsive."
Jacob,
I was like,
you
"This is the
signed
definition
up
of impulsive."
For the Airbnb before having me on board with this plan.
Well, I was gonna go by myself anyway.
Exactly.
You're a cool friend that I get to bring.
Yeah, correct.
I love this. I love our little family here.
It's pretty great. Look, you know what, Jason? Thank you so much for convincing me to come down.
Oh, I'm gonna cry, chat.
This could not have worked out better.
I'm gonna cry, chat.
Because that was, that when you move to a new place, that's the one thing you're kind of concerned about. You're like, look, I got nobody down there. I don't know. I'm not going to know anybody. And literally,
Well, I apologize in
everybody
advance
here
that now you're taking road trips with Jacob. I don't know if that's
is amazing. Everybody here is amazing. You guys are wonderful. I love you all. Yeah. We'll turn on the waterworks for you, Jason. Turn it on.
I'm painting a centurion's face. I don't care.
Look, I just gave him a compliment of the lifetime, and he's just ignoring me and talking about
First
Centurion
in,
space.
ball before
Okay.
I said
What
I was
about the boss
crying.
monster? Uh-huh.
I'm working.
Don't wipe paint in your eyes.
$5.
Is Samurai carrying this game?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Um,
And no, I'm not in.
I wonder if they still have the 11 packs over there. The 11 packs from Wednesday. I'd be kind of down to buy them because it's stacked. Nobody's opened anything from that box. I'll do it. I have credit.
Oh, I paid it.
Yes, we did. Thank you, Jason. Or
You
excuse
guys
me.
got paid today?
Thank you, Jen.
Jennifer,
Thank you for
Jennifer,
giving us
we
money.
need to talk if you're still paying these people.
Our yearly life support.
Yeah.
What the heck? How do these guys get paid?
Well, you know, we do work.
Oh,
Well, at least I do.
see, Jacob, the most honest one in the building. He says, Jordan says, well, we do work, and Jacob goes, that's debatable.
I do.
Yeah, you should
Look, I can't not. I literally work right next to this guy.
said we.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Jacob's in the office next to me, so he kind of has the roughest position
Jacob?
in the building.
Me.
He's like a,
Like, I can't not work.
Battlemechs beat out emotions, so... Rev says to say that with the boss man right in the same room. I let him get away with murder. I shouldn't. Sets a bad example. Jacob's gotten all cocky lately.
Yeah,
It
it's
is,
quite
right?
nice.
That fan works.
The AC I'm already feeling pumping through here. It feels nice. We really needed that.
Yeah, this room big. It's not super hot today, which is nice.
It felt hot when I came in here.
No, the room was.
Yeah.
But it's not super hot outside.
Oh, no.
This
no,
room
no.
starts to bake because it's facing west
Yeah.
in the parking lot.
I always forget that it is actually facing west a lot of the time.
Oh, yeah.
Because I would just never see it. And this is a big, like, horseshoe of a building.
Yeah. It's easy to get lost in our building because it is just a big horseshoe. But yeah, this room faces west, so on the very hot summer days, it starts cooking in here.
How's that jambalaya?
We got to get the couches and chairs for in here. Then guys could come during lunch and
Yeah,
they could just sit
and
and
hang
get the
out.
microphones over there. Yeah, the couches used to be over there, but we're gonna mic them up now, so you could come and like sit and see
Talk.
chat. We're gonna have like a computer screen over there,
Ooh, that'd be fun.
so you can have chat up. And you can read chat and have some fun. We're gonna make the stream more interactive, chat. I don't know if you're prepared to meet all of the personalities of Monument, but it's gonna happen. This weekend, Christopher and I are building the gaming table, that big game table there.
Oh, nice.
So that's going to be bitching. And start looking at all the lighting setups that we need to create
Get
to have
for
the
it.
gaming table work the way we want it to in here.
Well, because we're...
And then I'm going to look for couch or two big, like, you know, love seat chair type things to go over there as well.
Gonna be fun. Excited about this weekend, Jacob. Yeah. I'm gonna lose horribly. and it's
I'm
gonna be
excited. I need you to take photos. I need to know how road tripping with
That's
Jacob
true.
goes.
That's true.
You just 2-0'd me in like 3 seconds.
Yeah, first game, 2-0'd you with like a real deck.
Jen says, I haven't figured out how to get them to work without paying them. Good job doesn't pay the bills. Saying good job. Attaboys. Attaboys, you can't pay rent with attaboys? Stars like gold. Jacob says he'll take golden stars. So you can give him star stickers. He's got a better landlord than we do.
Do you hear that Jacob might be moving into my complex?
Oh, that'd be super rad.
Yeah.
That complex is actually
Only
good.
for a-
Only for a little while?
No, he said it won't be for a little
Oh,
while.
like when your apartment is up? Did you sign a year lease over there, Jacob? Yeah. And that was only what? Beginning of the year? You got a ways. This year's flying by, though. It's already month 5. How crazy is that?
It's insane. I really don't know how I'm doing it. Oh, I'm doing it? Yeah, guys, I'm in charge of time. I'm making everything go by really fast.
Within cells, thanks for the follow. Pay no mind to this blithering...
You want to continue that one?
Yeah, no.
Okay. Bye. See you later.
See you, Jacob.
Can't believe I just decided to go to California.
I know, you just need like road trip. So good, though.
That's hilarious.
We were all really pounded on it. We were like, you should do this.
Literally,
when Jacob
everybody
was
in the
like, hey,
office.
that's not going to cost you anything. You just have to get your ticket into the tournament. I'm paying for gas, Airbnb, the whole nine. And we were all like, why wouldn't you do this?
I think he also offered to drive, too.
Yeah, he's driving. He's not even asking you to drive.
Yeah. So, kind of the best case scenario sort of deal. Which is why I'm doing it.
Sauna stream, you start having issues after 60 degrees? Oh my God. Arizona would not be your friend.
No.
I'm just going to go out on a limb and say
it would
you'd be
most certainly not be.
screwed. It stops being 60 here in like January. 60 is our winter. Baby J, I can't decide if I want to paint a Y-Wing or a Battletech Lance for the challenge.
Ooh, a Y-Wing or...
When given the opportunity to paint Battletech or Star Wars, the answer, even though it is Revenge of the Fifth right now, is always Battletech. Yes, I'm biased. Yes, I am also right. Sometimes your biases and the truth are in alignment. And friends, that's where we're at. I'm not a big, huge Star Wars nut anymore, though. I used to be. That would have been a harder question 20 years ago or so.
I would say, when presented with that question, the answer is always do what you think is going to be the most fun.
Rule of cool. What gets you the most excited? Because that'll be the most... That'll be the best experience for painting you have.
Yep. Which is why I'm painting this right now, because I am really excited to paint these models.
I'm always about picking up a model that gets you excited to paint. Because even if you don't have a plan, that'll bring your plan together. As opposed to trying to force it. And everybody's week is coming off. Okay, you're here at the end. It is Friday. TGIF Day. May the 5th be with you. Lion, awesome. Can you go over the wish.com way you did the guns, Mo? Yeah. The all of the non-metallic kind of gunmetal on these guys. I haven't done the wash on these yet, so let's grab one that's actually kind of more done, right? Like this guy. All the guns and such is all done with blue-black first. Right? Our blue-black, which is a very deep blue, as stated. Right? The blue-black. Right? Then I have a mix that I've done that is blue-black and khaki. Right? It's just a hair of khaki inside the blue-black so that it gives you a interim color. This is a color we're probably going to make one day. And then that's your midtone. And then you go to gray-blue, which is someplace around here, I think. Maybe not.
Oh, gray-blue over there.
I mean, it used to exist. It existed yesterday, right? So, gray-blue, because it's a really good tint up from that, right? And then the white-blue for the highlight. So it's a pretty simple. There's only the one mix that you got to do. They're not too bad. Then I do the black wash and come back and highlight with the white blue after the wash again, just to get all of your bright spots dialed in. What would be another option if we don't have white blue? Arctic mini painting, you could just mix white in with gray blue, and then you have a color that's semi-close.
Yeah, but you want to be really heavy on the white in that mix.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to just end up with a really light blue.
Yeah, the goal is to get it to look more white, but pure white is a little much. Because once you put the black wash over the pure white, you get a neutral gray. And the neutral gray will distort the blue that you've spent time building up with all of the rest and get rid of kind of the gunmetal feel and just make it feel like gray, black. You know, it still looks good, but I would always prefer my bright highlight to have a hint of blue in it. The white blue is your best option. Barring that, if you don't have it, jump in and do the white into gray blue.
Oh my god, I just remembered something that I was doing last night that would make you laugh so hard.
Doing last night that would make me laugh?
Yeah. So I got really bored towards the end of the night.
And you did that Saturday Night Live John Candy dance or whatever it was? Not John Candy, the...
No, I started watching a show.
Oh.
Yeah.
What show?
The Last Ship.
Oh. It's so bad.
The first episode's pretty terrible, I have to admit. It was pretty bad. But then I was like, I wonder if the other episodes are decent. And they're like fine. But I was bored, and I have a very high tolerance for crappy TV shows. So
We learned a lot about Mo on that one, I feel like. Because
hey,
Mo's like, it gets
you know what,
better.
Mo? I'm enjoying it so far. I watched like 5 episodes, okay? So
I'm like, there's no chance for me to see if it gets better after how bad that first episode was. Even though he warned me.
it gets better, I swear. It is significantly better in the subsequent episodes than it is.
I don't know how I got greenlit after that pilot.
I would agree.
Cool.
The thing is, I like those types of shows in general. The like apocalypse survival TV shows.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, when he told me the premise of it, I was like, it could be interesting.
yeah, it's like the same reason that I like Battlestar Galactica, right? Except Battlestar Galactica has more political drama in it, which I tend to prefer. So I enjoy that one a lot more, obviously. It's not as bad as one of the worst TV shows I've ever watched that I enjoyed, which is The 100.
The 100?
Yeah.
Oh, I never tried that one. It has
horrible.
it's one of those that has a really good bait you in description
Yeah.
on like Netflix or
Yeah.
Amazon or wherever it is. I've never given it a go. I'm
It's-
afraid of it because it looks like a YA show.
It is. It starts out as that, but it gets less so the further you get into it.
Yeah.
So the first season, because it's a YA book series,
Okay.
but it goes from being
I'll have you know I'm not a young adult. Sorry.
yeah.
Just
neither
to
am I.
clarify for those of you that might be
So-
new here.
The first like half of the first season, maybe the first 75% of it,
Yeah.
starts off really like CWYA.
Okay.
And then as it gets further on in the season, like that starts to peter off.
Yeah.
Like you could tell that like their initial episode, which was their pilot episode, was very YA. But they were like, it was like we want to approve this because we think this has legs, but we need
Can
to
we
get rid
wean
of
you away from that?
yeah, we need to get
nonsense,
away
yeah.
from this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And you can see it going away from it over time. What did you do?
That was the weirdest thing ever.
Any orange anywhere?
No, I thought I saw like a spray. I was like, what the? I feel like
Jason?
it sprayed up. I know it did.
But yeah, the show gets interesting as it develops a little bit more. And I like it. I will admit that the last couple of seasons are pretty terrible. But like the first half of the show is pretty solid. And it's dark.
Stonewall says about the cockpit, was that burnt orange you started with when you did the cockpits? And if so, how would one achieve that with regular orange until you can get some burnt orange? It is burnt orange that I'm putting down, and just to give you an idea of where we're headed, we'll put two of these right next to each other, the same mech, right?
Do you have any mahogany or umbers?
Yeah, the regular orange with dark umber, the regular orange with burnt red, if you have it, works pretty well to giving you a really deep. If you have burnt sienna, you could use that too. If you just have the base set, orange and burnt red. Yeah, there you go. Stonewall. You can do that and then move to orange, because that's what I'm painting with next is orange.
Wouldn't mahogany get you closer than burnt red?
Because
burnt orange is like pretty brown.
Maybe.
Here, let me look.
If you have the base set, then try mahogany, but I would start with burnt red. Because the mahogany's super, super dark. You're going to have to put a lot of orange into it.
Well, you don't mix a ton of mahogany in, right? Just do like a little bit.
I still am thinking that like I just spurted like orange way up in the air. Very weird.
I'm doing this experiment right now for you because I'm curious.
I feel like that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's too dark.
Right. I think burnt red is going to get you there. A little bit of orange or a little bit of burnt red into your orange, I think, is going to get you there quicker. Neither one of them have to be perfect, but you want something that isn't so dark compared to the orange when you jump in there. Otherwise, you're making more mixes than you really want to. It depends on how you're painting, too. I'm doing this quick, so.
Yeah, burnt red is definitely the answer. Yerp. The minute that I put the the burnt orange on my palette, I was like, oh, I was wrong. One of those, like, you remember the color in your head, and then you look at it, and you're like, oh, no, I was wrong here.
Usually put a little dot of reflective color in the opposite corner. Well, and I'm not really, I'm feathering to give it the idea of a blend. Just have very little color on your brush and move it towards the bright spot so that it kind of layers over the burnt orange there.
All right, we're getting that colder non-metallic metal going on, which is good. You get pull out some dark plum. Add in here. Oh, it's bad. I had it, chat. Had it earlier. Oh, I just put it in a really weird place in the.
Need to get more red starting your Resin Beast entry and realize you're going to need some red.
Putting in these glazes of dark plum into the shadows. A little bit of rich color in there. Might be one of my favorite colors in the range.
What's that?
Dark plum.
Oh, dark plum, so good.
Yeah, it's really incredible.
Such a versatile color, too.
It's a beautiful color. What's up, Tim? How's it going?
Timbo, what's happening? Did I check out From? No, I couldn't remember where it was. Or is it on Apple TV? I don't feel like it is. I feel like it's on one of the ones we have.
So how was the first little bits of the book?
I did pick up Malazan. Sorry, I know somebody in chat asked that at the beginning of the show. I did pick up Malazan, book 1.
You picked it up.
I am legit right at the beginning. There's character introduction stuff going on. Some little boy and a commander on a bridge, and
yeah,
some nasty female antagonist.
Yep.
Character.
Surly.
Yep. And that's all. And the mouse.
Whiskey Jack in the mouse quarter.
The mouse quarter stuff is going on, and they're talking about how the Emperor is dead.
This takes place like 7 or 8 years before the actual events of the book, by the way.
I would figure that it would kind of drop into some sort of flashbacky thing.
That is the flashback.
I'm just still in that scene.
Yep.
I've only listened to it on the way to work, so. Oh, on the way home last night and way to work today.
Perrin is a cool character. Whiskey
I haven't
Jack
had
is a great
any
character.
time to listen. I don't listen unless I'm painting, other than driving. Is the little boy a main character that grows up?
Perrin? Yes.
What's his name?
Perrin?
Perrin?
Or not Perrin.
That's not the name of the kid that's in the thing. It's like
sorry, hold on.
It's
It's
or something.
Yeah, Ganois Perrin.
Oh, they
Perrin's
talked to him. They talked to him about his first name.
Yeah. His first name is Ganois. But he's in the military, so everybody just calls him Perrin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just a kid now.
Yeah. I guess I accidentally just gave you a little bit of a spoiler that you find out in literally the next chapter, but that's fine.
No spoiling. You may not care about him. I do. I don't want to hear about what's coming.
No. It's pretty obvious what's gonna happen. Well, no, it's not.
I was going to say, it better not be. What a horrible book.
No.
He's like very cyclopean. He only has one little bitty window.
Interesting.
Templar. We're hoping end of this month. We've been saying that for months though, so I'm not really handing out times right now. We've had delay after delay after delay on this production run out of Germany, so we're hoping by the end of May, but it may be beginning of June. Soon. 2 weeks. I don't know. I really wish we had better answers for you, though.
You're doing what we can. Doing everything we can to get them here.
Yeah, and we're spending a lot of time and effort to bring brush production stateside, but getting the equipment here has been an equal delayed bummer. So we're stuck on 2 fronts currently.
This is all coming from the same people, yeah?
No.
Oh, it's coming from
No, 3 different companies, actually.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yep. It's just that the EU, Germany in particular, because of its manufacturing, is suffering right now due to tremendously increased fuel costs. Businesses that we don't think of normally that use a lot of fuel for production are suffering dramatically over there right now. But that's why we're bringing production stateside for a large part of what we do.
Yeah.
That way, all the artist rounds we will be making here. The dry brushes we will not be making in the U.S. right out of the gates because of the difference in the bundling of the hair and such. But we will be looking to move into doing those later on down the road too. But for now, no. So hopefully our brush stocking will get tons better as we go through the rest of this year. Doesn't help us right now, but
we're working on it, chat. We're working on it.
they're killing me. I know. I wish.
It's
I
killing
wish I could
us,
say
too.
it wasn't killing us. We have done this whole year's business, tons of growth, no brushes. We haven't had brushes since the holidays.
Believe us when we tell you we want these brushes to be here as much, if not more, than you.
Guaranteed more than anybody in chat.
Yeah.
We want brushes.
Yeah. We really want them to be available for you guys because we know how much you enjoy them. And
Hell, I want them to be available because I'm running out of brushes.
I'm also running out of brushes. I'm using hand-me-down brushes. Well, I guess I had that one new one. But it's not the workhorse one that I need
Yeah.
a replacement for.
Yeah, it's been a bummer this year. Our last production run got delivered right before Black Friday last year, believe it or not. And normally we would have had another one in February. That's how delayed we are currently. And that one would have lasted in a perfect world until February, and it didn't. It was sold out before Christmas. So, yeah, people love our brushes, and it is always hard to keep them in stock, but that was ridiculous. We were like, I don't even know how to forecast if that's the way it's going to be.
Well, based on how many questions we get about it, I think we're going to run out pretty fast. So make sure, all of you that want brushes, make sure that you're signed up on the website for the restock notifications.
I feel like we need
So
we
when
need
we
a
get
kick,
them-
we need a kickback from all the other companies that make brushes, because we probably sold more brushes for them by being out of stock this year than anything else. So Byron from Artist Opus, he can thank me later.
Yeah. He owes you a beer at the next show.
Yeah, he's buying dinner next time. Yeah, definitely be in the Discord. If you join our Discord, if you haven't already, that's the best way to get updates. We'll announce in Discord as things are becoming available, as we have updates on timing, things like that. So, Clarkatron, you made a stupid May the 5th joke on your submission. Lion, you haven't used good brushes for miniature painting. Probably should at some point, though. You'd be surprised at how, you can use what we'll call like a workhorse, lower cost consumable brush for like base coating and things when you're working at a scale that you're just getting paint slopped on just fine. And then you'll be equally surprised when you go with a good detail brush to do those details, something that holds a sharp edge to it, and lets you do texturing and doesn't fight you with every brush stroke, that's where it really comes alive and where your painting will start to elevate to another level. You definitely don't have to use high-end brushes for every stage of painting.
No.
Don't listen to anybody that tells you differently. I paint everything that you see me paint, whether it's, our display models. It doesn't matter what I'm painting. Everything I'm painting, I'm doing with our synthetic brushes. And, the Horus, everything. Big old Space Marine. Right? 100% using synthetic brushes. And so, for me, that's just because I have a little bit of a, what I would call a broader range of brushstroke feel. And the synthetic, for me, spans the gamut from being really rough with it and holding its shape to being very delicate with it. It will not hold the same point under pressure that a sable will. So that's the only time where I'm like, I'll switch over to a sable for super fine details if I'm doing like freehand or something and I need to do very needle thin lines. Generally a sable will do me better for that. But other than that, so, you can go in, and our synthetics are not inexpensive necessarily. They're a better value overall than the sable price-wise, but they're still not $5 for 10 at Walmart. But $5 for 10 at Walmart will get you good basing brushes, Knowing that you can have both, I think is the key. Have your good workhorses, and then grab onto a set of detail brushes that you really like that you can be confident every time you pick them up are going to do exactly what you need them to do.
Yep. And I tend to retire my my detail brushes into base coating brushes as they get worn.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, don't ever throw them away quick.
Yeah.
Because, the best detail brushes become very, very good texture brushes. We joke basing brushes, whatever. But don't toss them out.
There's a lot of utilization to be had in your beat up crusty old brushes.
I've shown on stream a lot of times how to cut them down to get stippling brushes. I've got cups and cups and cups of brushes here that are things you can lean into to do, customized shapes and put them to work for you in lots of different ways. Stealing my car, chat.
They're stealing your car?
Yeah, they got to go get the trailer and go pick up a set of lockers.
Oh, cool. I remember you were talking about that.
Yeah, we want a set of lockers for you guys so you can put your personal bag and things like that in it. The girls have mentioned in the past that, having a place to put their purse, it's not something I ever think about. I'm like, oh, I just throw my keys on my desk. I don't have anything else.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I just toss my bag on my desk. And
yeah, so Carter bought a set of lockers and he's got to go pick it off.
All right, this first bit of non-metallic metal's almost done. We brought it back down to the colder non-metallic metal. Cool.
Best brush for priming within cells? A number 6, like a bigger brush, something that holds a lot of material is really good. Don't try to use a detail brush. But an airbrush, somebody mentioned in chat, if you can budget an airbrush and have the space where you can use it, is going to be your best friend for priming. Right? You definitely want to attempt to move away from rattle cans if you can, just because you can't control the paint output of a rattle can and you waste a lot of material. They're not a good value at all. But they do come in handy, right? The rattle can is probably the most flexible way because you can do it just about anywhere as long as you have a good climate for it, right? Typically you're doing it outdoors, so you got to be paying extra attention to the temperature and humidity at the time you do it, but
All right, chat. What do you think? Have we recovered our lost non-metallic metal to a good place? I know you guys were a fan of the other one. I'm liking where we're going with this one so far.
Yeah, it looks a lot better. I think it just fits the scheme better.
100% I agree with you.
Yeah, if you prefer to brush it on, then a larger brush that holds a lot of material. Remember, when you're priming with a brush, the thing that you really need to be doing is not putting a lot of moisture on your brush, and then making sure that you clean your brush heavily more than you normally would. That makes sense? Because you're going to want to have that primer go on, especially if using our primer. You're going to want that primer to go on as close to the way it would out of an airbrush, right, as possible. So I don't even really get my brush damp, believe it or not. I will take a dry brush and just, that's why a bigger brush is better, because a dry brush just loaded with primer. But it's really hard on your brush, so don't use a brush that you love. Get a big chonky number 6 basing brush, like our synthetic number 6. And you'll need to do probably 2 solid coats or so when doing it that way. Don't expect your primer to go on with a brush and be perfect after 1 layer. I love the Marauder.
Yeah?
The shrimps.
The shrimps. Pretty cool mech, I have to admit.
Shallow, we make our own primers, though. You don't have to go anywhere else. Use our Acryl primer. Welcome, everybody. If you are new here, we are Monument Hobbies. We are the manufacturers of Pro Acryl paint. All the paint and brushes that you see us use on the stream are our own.
We are cool. We like to talk about painting and stuff.
Nerd stuff.
Hang out with us, because we're nerds.
Speak for yourself, dude.
You are
I am
just
not a
as
nerd,
big of a
dude.
nerd as I am, if not more.
No way. Impossible.
Okay, what's your justification here? Can you explain to me how you're not a nerd?
It's not up to me to tell you how I'm not a nerd. You have to prove I am one.
How many painted mechs do you have?
Innocent
on
until
your
proven guilty. Innocent until proven guilty. How many what?
How many painted battle mechs do you have on?
Oh, they forced me to do this.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, your rebuttal requires evidence as well.
The magical they. I've twisted my arm. My shoulder hurts still.
I have given you evidence. You need to refute it in an appropriate manner.
I don't accept your evidence. You don't have jurisdiction here.
That's not how that works.
You don't have jurisdiction
I work here.
Huh?
I work here.
That gives you no jurisdiction.
It absolutely does.
Then they're ganging up on me.
Nobody's ganging up on anybody. I'm just winning.
He's ganging up on me.
Chat, am I ganging up on him?
Gozu, what's going on?
What's up, Gosu? How's it going? Hope you're having a wonderful day.
You treat your brushes like Rocky treats a side of beef. That's why you go through a lot of them. I'm the same way. You guys watch. I paint with a lot of texture. Even when I'm using a light touch, I am hitting the brush to the model quite a few times to get a thing done, as opposed to one delicate swipe. So I run through brushes pretty quick. Another reason why I really enjoy synthetics. Our synthetics in particular.
I think Mo is convinced that I am more nerdy than you are.
Shallow or Shalo, glad you found us. Welcome, welcome.
Hope you're enjoying the stream.
Mo, he is definitely more nerdy than I am. I caught him. Sitting around talking about like anime stuff and
What's wrong with that?
nothing wrong with it. Just saying, you're more nerdy than I am.
That's probably true. In all fairness,
I love to
probably
nerd
true.
out on stuff though, so definitely have a
I do too.
nerd streak a mile wide. Mo is king nerd.
We just nerd out about different things. Well,
That's it. I think everybody's
except
nerds.
for painting. We can
Any
both
time in
nerd
my
out
life
about
where
painting.
people have said that, you know, they've called me a nerd or whatever, you know, and I'm like, dude, everybody's a nerd. It's just what you're nerding out about, right?
Yep.
It's like the biggest, burliest bikers that I hung out with in my life, right, were always nerds about something. And so it's always funny to figure out, you know, what is their nerd trigger? What gets them to start nerding out?
Yeah.
Motors. You want to talk about motors? Want to talk about engine building? You know? It's funny that people's eyes would light up, like, as I would be sitting there, because I hung out in a world of, you know, people that were building old pre-1970 Harley Davidsons, not this new fandangled, you know, chopper scene or Starbucks bagger guys. And so these guys were all these old graybeards, been doing it forever. And we'd be sitting around talking about clutches and transmissions and motors and things we'd done and this and that. And then I'd be like, oh, I got to go. What do you got to do? I got to go home and paint miniatures. Like, excuse me? You do what?
Like, look, you got your thing, I got mine. We coincide on some stuff.
I ain't got time to stop with just one hobby.
Telling me I have far too many.
It can get out of hand, damn it.
Yeah. Like, oh, hey, look, I like to play video games. Oh, hey, I like to watch movies. Hey, look, I like to watch TV shows. Oh, hey, I like to paint miniatures. Oh, hey, I like to play miniatures games.
Vile needs 6'3", 280 biker nerd. Exactly. Yeah, people were always bummed that I would not paint graphics on their tanks and helmets. I had a buddy who pinstriped helmets and stuff, and I would always turn over all that stuff to them, and everybody would say, why don't you paint? Like, I want you to airbrush something cool. I saw what you did, you know, on that bike you did. I want you to airbrush my tank. And I was like, nope. People get all salty.
Why the no, sir?
Huh?
Why the no, sir?
I didn't like doing stuff for other people.
Sure.
Like, I don't want to pay for you. I was always of the mind that I could never get my value back out of it because I spent so much time doing it. And
yeah.
and I didn't want to
You'd
have
never
to.
get paid
Well, it
what
wasn't my
you were-
business to do that, right? I never went in and said, you know what I do? I paint tanks. You know, or I do this custom artwork on fenders or whatever it was. You know, it just wasn't my gig. I didn't like doing it. Same way I didn't like doing commission art ever. That's always a tough one. Like a little hole in the model where the 3D print had a
Failure?
support that popped a dimple in it.
Yeah.
So it's a bullet hole in his windshield now. I think the other one has it too, because these are both the same sculpt, right? So I think the other one has a support mar. Oh, yeah, it does. It's not in the same spot, but it has one that's in like kind of the darker area. Same kind of thing. guys at your old job were always trying to get you to paint their guns and bike helmets. And you're like, that's not the same as painting miniatures?
Most certainly is not.
That brings up a good point. Art, to those who are not as creatively inclined or don't think they are, because I believe everybody is, whether you can draw or paint is a matter of time spent learning.
Yep.
Right? How much you invest in capitalizing on your capabilities. I think people are by and large more creative than they give themselves credit for in most situations.
100% agree with you.
But if they don't apply themselves in that way on a regular basis, they do tend to generalize. Hey, you're an artist. Can you come over to my house and do this thing for me? It's like, no, that's very specialized. I don't know anything about it.
I mean, there's a lot of things that you can translate over to do, like...
I mean, people would be like, I bet you know how to blow glass.
Oh, no.
I'm like, excuse me?
Certainly do not know how to do that.
That's one of those artsy-fartsy things. Crazy's got to know how to do that. Like,
No, I, in fact, do not know how to do that.
I, in fact, do not know how to go. I mean, I understand the general principles because I'm an engineer, too.
Yeah.
So I'm a weird artist that also does logic.
And as an artist, like, I have an interest in those things, and I have watched people do it. So, like, I know what I don't know. As in, like, I know that I can't do it. But I know enough to know that, like, it's interesting and it's cool, and I know what you're talking about. But can I do it for you? No.
You work on electronics. Can you come over and wire up my television? Wire up some ceiling fans. You know how electrical stuff works. I got called about doing that all the time. Yeah, and Jason, I do that at our house and stuff, right? Because I'm like, I do understand all that stuff.
You know electrical stuff. Can you fix my TV?
Yeah.
I mean, the funny thing is you probably could.
That was always the bummer, right? Because I did that for so long, right? I built recording studios and worked in electronics and all that. And came from a music background. And so when people would be like, hey, can you get me a good deal on a TV? I'm like, maybe you don't understand what I do.
Yeah, not in sales.
I do not go hang TVs all day.
I still am interested in learning how to solder, though.
Soldering, I can teach you.
Yeah.
Welding, I can teach you.
Because I want to repair that TV, and it requires me to know how to solder. To repair the part that I'm pretty sure is bunked on it.
Sure. I probably need to spend some time and dig up my soldering station? Question mark? I have a good Weller soldering station. I just don't have any idea where it is. Maybe it's at the house. Maybe. I don't solder much anymore, so...
It seems like a really, useful skill to have.
Oh, it's a super useful skill to have that you never use. Yeah. Until you do, right?
Or you use it all the time because you're like, look at all these things that I can fix by myself.
Well, yeah, I don't know what you're doing that you have that many broken electronic pieces unless you're collecting them off eBay.
Yeah, but the fact that you could, right? Yeah. You're like,
people that solder a lot do it for a living, right? They actually do PCBs or they do science projects like that with their kids or whatever else. But there's in today's world, most of that stuff you're not going to repair with a normal soldering iron. So that's not becoming, it's not a thing of the past yet, but the scale of electronic is now all robotic soldering. And being able to get in there with what I would call a home hobbyist soldering station is ever more difficult. Because you'll get in and you'll look at the solder connection points on the board and you'll be like, I'm going to burn every component next to this thing if I touch my soldering iron there. Micro soldering is the repairman way of the future. Yeah, right? Like operating little like nanobots with soldering guns on them is probably the way it's going to be. Literally electronics and the way that nowadays they just dip them, right? A lot of things are the layered PCBs you can't even really solder because you don't get to the back of it anymore, so the board gets dipped. The component parts get placed on the board with robot arms, or in some cases, actual humans do it, and then it gets dipped in a solder bath. He bought a micro soldering machine and makes tons of cash. Yeah, because again, right, in order to repair today's electronics, you have to do that. A normal soldering station, no matter how good you are, it's the scale is wrong. You cannot get the point of the soldering pin to a place where it won't burn components out. You know, it's super high heat. And you will burn capacitors and resistors out and loosen solder joints you weren't meaning to loosen if you're not real careful. I don't doubt it for one instant. It's not anything I've ever paid attention to. And not my gig anymore, if you haven't noticed.
Yeah, you got a new gig. Seems to be working out pretty well for you.
We make paints and brushes and paint tiny windshields on Battlemechs that are supposed to be 3 stories tall, but are actually only 2 inches tall. You're a global service engineer for work. A lot of stuff now is hard to repair at the component level. It's mostly board level repairs unless it's a separate power board. Yeah, you know, I can imagine, right? Because especially if you're dealing with multi-layer PCBs, then you've got to do like, you know, wire fixes, right? You've got to take the component off of the board in order to fix it and hang it off of, you know, thin wiring. And we used to have to, if we had something that was on a layered PCB that had a component failure on something that came in on a production unit, right? And it had to be fixed basically in the field, meaning that once it reached our warehouse from Japan or Korea or wherever the assembly was, it would get to our warehouse and we would have to either have a company come in and fix it on site at our warehouse and do thousands of units, you know, because a piece was failing and it didn't get through testing until late. Or worst case, out in the field, like on an install. And, you know, when you're talking about 10,000 units or whatever, that's a pain in the butt and very costly. And when they have to make this real kludgy looking fix where they have got these tiny wires and a connector we got to add, and it's like, hope nobody opens this ever. It makes it look like we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, if it works.
A PCB goes from looking very nice and worth the money to did somebody build this in their garage? But yeah, it's definitely a lot less expensive in most cases than having the PCB redone and shipped and then replacing all that. Which no factory wants to do anyway. They're not trying to build things twice, turns out. Something about economy of scale and thing. Where phones and laptop power cords go in? Oh yeah, I can imagine that. That little connector, that Molex style or whatever it is, Apple style connector, would be a pain in the butt. Lots of stress there as people jam it into cables and docks.
Yeah, that's pretty tough. Those things get a lot of wear and tear on them. A lot.
I prefer welding. It'll always be at a scale I can do it.
That's true.
I'm really interested in laser welding. If those machines get to a point where normal humans can afford them, I may actually invest in one at some point. I don't think I put yellow on this. Did I? Route, what's happening?
God, I can't believe I'm going to California tonight.
You are driving to California with Jacob Yakov, the Russian spy, who is also a serial killer. I don't know if you know that. I didn't want to tell you until after you committed to be in the car with him for 4 hours.
Well, just remember, you made all this investment to bring me here. If you wanted me to be alive,
Well,
you probably should have told me.
I mean, maybe the press will get like marketing for us. Jen and I can cry on camera.
Well, if I die, cry for me.
Cry for me, chat. Jen and I on like the news. We miss him already. He was like a son to us.
He was only here for the short time, but I felt like he was here forever.
A month felt like 10 years.
It's a month and a half now, basically.
Ghost says, I'll remember you, Baby J, for a short time at least.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so.
Vile needs, what's the new flavor of matte finish everyone's using? Tester's Lusterless is not on any shelves. It gets bought up pretty quick. They still make it. It's called Dull Coat, right? Or the Lusterless Flat. Is it Lusterless Flat in the blue generic label? And was it Dull Coat in the Master series or whatever they called
I thought they discontinued Dull Coat.
No.
In the small cans with the clear lids?
Mm-mm. No. They quit the Masters, Testers, whatever it's called. Masters, the one that had the silver label with the black oval. They got rid of that whole line.
Yeah, okay, so that's the one I was used to.
But the blue one, that was the exact same thing, that I thought was called Dull Coat, is still made. It is getting harder and harder to find. They got bought by Krylon or Rust-Oleum or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And they've been reducing the Tester's footprint dramatically. So it seemed like one of those deals where they came in to get some of what Testers had as formula patents and things.
Yeah.
And then now they just own that and
Crush
use
the
it in their own,
competition.
but they haven't made all the hobby gear.
Yeah.
It feels like as soon as it's done, it's done. You started using artist grade varnishes and have not looked back so good. They're just, I mean, sometimes they're pretty light fast, but they're not real good on physical 3D components, to be honest with you. Right? It doesn't matter if it says artist grade or whatever. What you're looking for a final coat, if you're looking for finish, you can use anything. If you're looking to apply a gloss or a satin or a matte finish, any varnish that does the finish you want will work. Just realize that acrylic varnishes, water-based acrylic varnishes like everything you'll find in the hobby world mostly, right? The airbrush ones, are only as good as another couple layers of paint, right? They don't do anything. They're not going to give you a more solid coat that will live up to protecting your model very well. So don't get bummed out. They will give you a great finish. What was good about the Testers is that it was a lacquer. It had a solvent-based lacquer component for its binder. And so in that case, you get a much stronger finish because, I mean, lacquer clear coats are what they used to use on cars back in the day, right? Not usually anymore. But so now you wind up with a much stronger finish that can handle greasy fingers for longer. It'll still wear on sharp corners of miniatures over time, even plastic ones. But yeah, any varnish, if you're just going for the finish, any varnish that gives the finish look that you like, go for it. Those are great. They'll work like a champ. Just if you want protective finish, you're going to want an enamel or a lacquer. And we're looking into a lacquer spray varnish right now too. Our first ones will be acrylic, but we are looking for a hard coat lacquer spray. Unfortunately, it would only be available in North America most of the time because it has to be transported by boat to everywhere else. So it could be available in Australia, depending on their codes for hazardous materials. But we don't know if we're going to go to that length on it for the hazardous material ratings and things like that. Depends. Got a lot of work to do on it still, but. Gosu will make the acrylic in a sprayable, not in a can version. We will not make the lacquer in a... we don't want to present you with anything you have to clean up with a solvent currently. Not in our wheelhouse of wanting to do that. No, they didn't, Duff. You shut up.
Gameslip, where if Baby J is chopped up and buried in the desert, you should name a new paint color after him. I mean, not a really good color, but one you use once a month or so.
Not a good paint color? Like Baby J Brown?
Baby J, baby puke color.
Baby J Puke? I'm not interested in this at all. This hasn't sold me at all. That doesn't sound like anything I would ever want to do.
You know you want.
You hope you're both doing well. What's going on, Creepy?
We're doing good, Creepy. Having a good time. It's a nice Friday.
Duff, you came in and you said bad things, so we're not talking to you. Sweet Baby J Brown.
Good old Poop Brown.
Good old Poop Brown. Baby J Poop Brown. We miss you, Baby J. We made Poop Brown for you.
I think we should stop talking about me dying during this trip.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean,
pretty fucking.
hey.
Excuse me. Pretty morbid. This is pretty morbid. I want to be excited about this trip, not worried I'm going to die.
You're the one who chose to do it. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Well, I can still back out.
You can still back out. Poor Jacob.
I should walk back out of here and just be like, you know what, Jacob, I've changed my mind.
Poor Jacob. Jacob's like, what did I do? He's like, nothing. Chat told me you were going to kill me. It just kept going downhill from there.
This is a conversation I'm going to have with him after stream.
Christmas Sushi says, I wouldn't get in that car, Jordan. Duff, we were talking about the varnishes that we're working on. The first ones will be airbrush only acrylic varnishes for finish, although we do have a harder coat acrylic varnish, but I was explaining how acrylic varnishes are never going to give you the protection of an enamel or a lacquer. So, depending on what your hope for it is, just have realistic expectations when using. One of the members of chat had said that, they had gone to artist lacquers, artist quality lacquer, or artist quality varnishes, not lacquers. And I was just stating that, those are great for finish work. They're not great for protection. Because where they may be made for archival protection of canvas paintings and such, they do not hold up on three-dimensional objects very well. I mean, they'll stay. It's not like you get a problem. They just are not going to be what they're intended to as far as strength on a painting or canvas.
Not what they're used for.
Yeah, it's just not what they're for. They're not meant to have edges rub, right?
Yeah.
That's one of the hardest things to deal with on three-dimensional objects and why a lot of paints are not good for them. Because they're not meant to be in situations where you rub on the surface after you've painted it. Most artist products are meant for flat art surfaces where we've painted on them.
Yep.
And they're usually porous, unless you're buying paints that are made for like wood paneling and stuff like that. That's where acrylics really have their strength, is that acrylics are the paints that can do all the other stuff. They can adhere because of the fact that acrylic polymer is just a plastic when it's dried. And oils and things like that also do the same, but because they never cure as rock solid, they typically aren't as great for sculptures and things of that nature, regardless of light fastness and things like that. Like Dallas contacted me today from what do they call themselves? MCP.
Atomic Mass?
Yeah, Atomic Mass. And he was talking about do we make inks? And I was like, we make our transparents, and,
Oh, you're talking to Dallas?
Yeah, he was asking me why I didn't like inks. And I was like, I love inks, but they're not made for using on three-dimensional surfaces, so they cause me some problems long-term on miniatures. And same thing holds true for most.
Yeah.
Even acrylic inks. They're made for porous surfaces. They're not made for putting on plastic. Doesn't mean you can't.
It was good to see that guy at Adepticon. I haven't seen that guy in a very long time. Good to see a lot of people.
Yeah, Adepticon was a lot of fun. Tons of fun.
Love that show. It is and always shall be one of my favorite shows of the year.
File needs. This one is a Whitworth, if you're asking about this. It's a medium mech, a 40-tonner or 45-tonner that is 2 LRM 10s and medium lasers. I don't think it's LRM 15s. I think it's LRM 10s. This is a Spectre. And this is just very thin down black wash. Going over the guns, all of the steel non-metallic we've done. Darken all that back up. And then we'll hit it with a highlight again once we've done this. This just kind of knocks the blue back into an oily gunmetal feel as opposed to so blatantly clean.
Oh gosh, Jason, what do I do if we happen to win this weekend?
If you happen to win, you come home and work on Monday?
Well, yeah. It's not like that's not going to happen. But, like, do I actually start playing that game? To,
no.
Like,
I mean, you do what
invite?
you want, dude, but
Huh.
you guys with your card game ADD.
This is Jason's or Jacob's fault. I have no ADD.
I do.
I'm looking forward to playing Digimon tonight.
I do not argue with you on that. It is Jacob's fault.
Yeah. And everybody else in this office who has been constantly saying, do this.
Okay, now I want to go on record here as saying I did not promote playing the game. I promoted going and having a good weekend trip with Jacob.
But that involves playing the game.
I mean, you go play the game. That doesn't mean you got to do it when you get back, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can go to Vegas and gamble. Doesn't mean you gamble every day when you get back.
Well, I think my point is if I get an invite to their like pro tour, like, do I actually play to go play in that, or do I just like screw the invite and not care?
There's an invite for Pro Tour. They're trying to have a Pro Tour with that game.
They have like $1 million.
Oh yeah,
for prize
I think Ruben was saying something like that.
Yeah.
That sounds like, for that game, that sounds like a pipe dream that will slowly dry up.
I agree.
I am of the mindset that the ongoing $1 million Pro Tour idea for card games is long gone. They are late to the game.
Yeah. It's Battle Spirits Flying Creative.
And I have to admit, I looked at it when it first dropped a video and was completely unimpressed with the gameplay. I was like, I don't get it. The little gemstones and all that stuff didn't mean anything. I get that it's unique, so I applaud them for that. But when I looked at it, I was like, definitely not for me. But obviously, I am not the generation they're trying to hit. They're not going for 53-year-old, washed up gamer dude. And I hope that it gets some legs so that they continue to do all the other games that they do that are very good. Same with One Piece. I don't know anything about One Piece as a property, and the artwork is horrible.
Yeah, I don't actually like the art.
So I wasn't really interested in the artwork because it's just not good.
Yeah.
And I think you have to either know about I think it's like pirates or something. The whole One Piece thing. You obviously need to know more about the story than I was willing to invest.
T. Schmidt, it's called Battle Spirits Saga. The new game that literally came out last week.
Had videos out for playing and the get to know it stuff from Bandai for months, but I guess they just released it.
And one of our people here at the office,
Yakov, the Russian spy,
has been very excited about it. He's been playing it a lot and has convinced me to go on a road trip with him this weekend to go play in a regional level event.
You couldn't get into One Piece, but it has a huge following. I've been told by Jacob again, who follows all of these things, that the big reason that One Piece has such a huge following is because they release the cards in such a limited format that there's a lot of money in cracking packs for it right now.
Yes.
So it was a collector's bargain from the get-go.
Correct.
And that it's not, like his comment about it locally was that he was glad it came out because it took all the horrible people that you didn't want to play, took them away from the card games everybody else was playing because they were in it for the money. And so now they could go get money by cracking packs of One Piece. It'll be interesting to see how it survives and, as they grow the game. Card games are rough, right? Because as they start, there's never a lot of cards. So it doesn't have but, very one-dimensional mechanics sometimes.
Yeah.
Even if they're not one-dimensional by the rules, they feel one-dimensional because they get boring to play over and over and over again. Digimon is even there, where Digimon gets better with each release because it introduces new mechanics, things like that. But I would still refer to it as a relatively new game. It's only like 3 years old or whatever.
That's a lot of expansions, though, for being 3 years old.
Well, they're very active with it.
Yeah.
But they haven't really introduced a whole lot of new stuff for it in that time. Play-wise. They've introduced a lot of cards to get all of the archetypes supported.
Yep.
And now I think they're at a point where they're going to start, obviously, showing us new
big mechanics.
rules and mechanics, keyword mechanics and things like that are going to be fun. So that's awesome. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because 7 was already washed. Ta-da! I'm getting closer, chat. You can see the light at the end of the tunnel. It might be the train.
You're just seeing the train at the end of the
It
tunnel?
might be the train. It could also be rich opportunity. Paint Liquor, you like One Piece as a show? I don't know anything about it. And what I learned is that, I just have to be honest, is that a lot of the card game trope for the anime and stuff is not built for me. It's not things I like. I grew up at a time where anime, the only thing you got exposed to was Star Blazers, Robotech Macross, Voltron. There wasn't really anything else, I don't think.
Yes. That sounds right.
In the 70s and 80s, right? So, and then it was very hard to get, right? And I didn't have anybody in my life that showed it to me. As I got older, I had a buddy that was in the military and got stationed in Japan, and he would send me VHS tapes of stuff. So I had the non-dubbed version of like Ninja Scroll and Ninja Scroll 2, like some unofficial thing, and like Spriggan and all of these things that I thought were awesome, And I really loved that genre of stuff when it was Appleseed and Spriggan and less Big Eye, oh my god, wow, high school, anime trope. Nowadays, it's lost me.
Yeah.
Like, it's completely bypassed me. I look at stuff and I'm like...
It's funny because, I grew up with that kind of stuff, watching anime.
Sure,
that
it
was the
shifted.
kind of stuff that I enjoyed.
It shifted into all of that, and if you know it, then that's what you recognize as. It becomes recognizable and enjoyable.
Yeah, same.
For me, it was so different.
Well, no,
Right.
that's what I'm saying. Is I have a similar interest in anime that you do.
Oh, okay.
But I have grown to
like all of it.
appreciate all of it.
Yeah, I didn't spend enough time on it. It would just be like unique, cool things to watch.
Yeah.
And then I would go off and do other things.
Because I got in after, because it was past your time because you were back in the 70s, 80s. But I grew into it in the 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah, well, the 90s would have been
Where
the
it had
time where I was
developed.
seeing stuff like Ninja Scroll and all that, because that's when that era, Ghost in the Shell, all of that was happening.
So I was right after that, where all that stuff still existed and it was popular and people knew about it, people were talking about it, but there was this new, the trinity, right, of that era, which is Bleach, One Piece, and Naruto, which are, the foundation that the rest of all of that stuff.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah, I mean that's
So One Piece is a huge deal.
Yeah, One Piece is a huge deal. In that era, those are the three.
Gotcha.
They are referred to as the big three. Or
I know Naruto.
Naruto.
Whatever it is.
It's Naruto. But yeah,
Whatever.
You're good.
Whatever.
You're good. They are definitely different than what you would like. For sure.
I've tried to watch that one with my nephew, and I'm like, nope. It's really tough to get me to enjoy an anime. A lot of people have given me things to try to go watch here, and I'm like, meh.
The trick is you have to find somebody who understands what you like about anime and only give you things like that. Because they exist.
Well, they exist.
They're just generally older shows.
Right, I was going to say I've seen most of them.
Yeah, you've either seen them already or it's a newer show that is like half of something that you would like and half not.
Because I don't find any interest in weird chibi things that run around in the anime. I know there's always like the kind of comical interlude characters that they have, and sometimes that is I can deal with it because I just don't pay attention.
Yeah.
Other times it's so in your face, you're like, yeah, this is wrong. You know, like the silly little robot thing. You know, a lot of other cultures in their entertainment do that. They have like a serious drama with a very laughable character somewhere. I just like very serious concepts.
Yep.
And I like that to follow through to everything, anime, all that other stuff. I don't, you hear me always making fun of like buddy cop movies. I don't need humor because somebody says that if you don't have humor involved, nobody will like it. A lot of it feels forced.
Yeah, I mean that's why I don't like people think I'm crazy because I'm like I don't really like comedy in like television and movies.
Yeah, I don't either. It doesn't mean I don't like funny stuff.
Yes, I love funny stuff.
I love to laugh. I love watching good comics and comedians.
Correct, same. But I don't like watching buddy cop or like even comedy movies that are designed to be funny.
Yeah.
Because they're not funny to me.
Yeah.
Right? Because it is forced.
It's forced.
It's on purpose. The whole design of the narrative is designed to make you laugh. I don't care for that. That's not to say that there haven't been some variations of those that I have enjoyed because they rise above being just, a funny movie. But generally speaking, I don't care for them.
Yeah. Like Jen likes funny television shows, and she'll watch up till recently when they moved it off of Netflix. She was watching all the Cheers. She was going back and binging all the Cheers shows. And, I would go to bed and she'd be watching one, and I'm like, I remember Cheers, and Cheers is great, right? Cheers is just good classic situational comedy in a real world vein, and that I can handle for a bit, but you're not going to find me binge watching it, right? I can watch a couple episodes and I'm like, all right, I'm done. Moving on. But anyway, with anime, for me, something like Ninja Scroll, something like Blade of the Immortal, something like Lone Wolf and Cub, in manga
Lone
form.
Wolf and Cub is a great one.
If you can move that from the storytelling that was done so well in the manga, Grave of the Fireflies,
Okay, so you've watched Miyazaki stuff as well.
Oh, yeah. Spirited Away, things like that are okay. Sometimes they're a little youthful for my mindset.
Yeah.
A
lot of Miyazaki films are like that.
Well, yeah, because they're looking into the splendor of youth.
Yep.
And then bringing the drama and reality and the dichotomy of the splendor of youth, I call it. And it works well. I dig it. From an artistic perspective, I really like it. But it's not something I go back
purpose.
to.
It's not done because they want it to be a kid's show.
The Last Unicorn.
It's on purpose.
You remember this?
I've never seen this.
Anybody out there in chat know The Last Unicorn? I got that shoved down my throat because it was one of my sisters. I have 4 sisters, and my sisters loved The Last Unicorn. And it had one of the most amazing, brilliant bad guys in it. Like this witch that was just amazing. And even though it was kind of a weird, clumsy, children's anime, I really enjoyed that. I thought it had some really good points to it. Last Unicorn's amazing, T. Schmidt. Yeah, it really is. It is in my wheelhouse of I could watch that. Now, today it probably doesn't stand up the same way, but neither does Evangelion. I try to watch Evangelion and I'm like, yeah, this is kind of quirky.
I don't know.
It doesn't hold up as well as
Evangelion.
they've tried to redo it like 18 times too, and that doesn't help. That you can't watch what I remember Evangelion was. They've tried to retell it, and I get that it's the guy that made it trying to retell it. But right now, when I go find Evangelion, it's like not the Evangelion. It's not in the order. They've changed a lot of the story and the way it works, and
I think the original is better than the.
yeah, I think that's the thing, right?
I think as an art piece,
I have the
like
OVA.
the
It's
show.
called the OVA, the one that's
Yeah,
episodic.
yeah,
Yeah.
So I prefer the original version as an art.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Because
It's so
insane.
crazy. It is like
It's
going and
wild.
watching like a weird trip, you know, and sometimes I'm, you know, I don't understand because I'm an American. I don't necessarily, it's not that I don't understand. It's that I don't have the same principle view of man versus environment that Japan does. Because Japan, most of its stuff from Gojira, you know, the Godzilla stuff and all that is about the frailty of Earth surrounded by the human condition, right? And because they live on an island,
Yeah.
with very limited resources, no oil, you know, they've struggled for so long and had to be warlike for so long that their story is very different than ours. And so sometimes I get bored with that. You know, sometimes I'm like, I get it. But I like the Miyazaki stuff because he trends away from some of that
Yes.
into more of just kind of coming of age. I liked Serial Experiments Lane,
I have heard of it. I have not watched
which
it.
a lot of people hate. So I don't know where that puts me on the anime spectrum.
Probably puts you at under the I have good tastes category, to be honest.
I really liked that one. I liked Blood.
Oh, Blood C.
Yeah, I
Or
think
not
it-
Blood C, Blood Plus or whatever.
No, I think it was called just Blood.
Maybe it's a different show. Did it have, was it like female protagonist killing vampires or whatever?
I believe so.
Yeah, that's Blood. Blood Plus. And
Blood,
then
the Last Vampire. That's what it is.
Oh, yeah. Blood Plus is the original movie, and I think Blood C is the new remake of it, which I have not had any interest in at all. But I remember liking that show a lot as when I was younger.
I feel like there's something called like maybe something submarine, Blue Submarine with a number. That was really good. Gantz. Weird mecha ones.
I really like Trinity Blood. Good.
Biomech
That's a good old show.
kind of stuff. There's
That
lots
never
of
got
anime.
finished.
I mean, if I were to go back, but like you said, all of it's old. I stopped paying attention to anime because it all turned into high school kids
Yeah, it's just not the same.
and high school child trauma. And I'm like,
It's like a lot of it is just kids that are in middle school or high school that are dealing with things that shouldn't be dealt with until they're getting treated like college students.
yeah, it's like demonic possession.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
like
and
Bleach is a great show when you just think of every character in the show as being in college. And you're like, cool, this makes more sense. But when you think about it, it's like, oh no, these kids are actually in high school and the main character's 15. You're like, no, this doesn't track. This does not track for me.
yeah.
But that's what I do. A lot of the time I'm like, okay, I know that this is depicting somebody in high school, but I'm just going to ignore that and imagine that this is a college environment. And then everything kind of makes more sense. Because a lot of those characters are not even like drawn to look like they're in high school. They're drawn like college age characters. It's ridiculous.
Well, yeah, and that art style has never appealed to me. You know, it
Yeah.
was much later when they started doing like you could go and learn the anime graphic style. You know, and you could find like these classes for taking it and books for doing the anime art style.
Yep.
You know, and I was always like, this anatomy is horrible.
Oh, it's terrible.
Like it
Yeah.
bums me out to see anime anatomy. I'm like, so that's not how the human body works. But okay. But it's just different times. It's like growing up with different influences and such.
I will say some of the most amazing animation I have ever seen is in Naruto. That's one of the best animators, in my opinion.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's a clip that I can send you that context-wise will not make any sense to you, but you will appreciate if you appreciate animation at all, you will appreciate it.
Obviously, Akira.
Here's great. Here's very good.
Like I said, I really like Pat Labor, Mobile Police stuff. I like the Appleseed. There's one very, very recently that I watched, and it keeps coming up as, like, on my feed as one of the least known animes ever that you need to watch. And the one scene that everybody will remember is the ultra-violent drop pod scene, where the drop pods have, like, heavy machine guns mounted to the bottoms of them, and they drop them from high orbit over this city. It's like Wolf something. And the drop pods, as they get close to the ground, like open like Space Marine drop pods, but upside down. And when the claws open out, right, and the brakes are hit, the machine guns pop out and open up. And it just shows everybody, they're like 50 cows. It shows all of the people on the street that were the rebels just get disemboweled.
Oh,
like just body parts everywhere. It was gruesome. It was just a split-second scene. And then you have all these, you know, high-tech operatives jumping out of drop pods. That was pretty fun.
The heck shows this?
Yeah, Gauntz Zero was super way ahead of its time. That's why I like it. That's why I mentioned it. I don't know. I didn't keep up with it, so I don't know that they ever finished that story, or if maybe that was done then. I don't remember. But I have that. It had a lot of CGI involved with traditional, I think, and it was really cool.
So interesting to me. How far the just like what kind of shows that are made, these how far they've diverged from the way that they used to be.
Oh yeah, technology.
It's really interesting. It's gotten a lot more. It's got a lot younger, because I feel like a lot of the older anime was designed for adults.
Well,
or maybe it wasn't designed for adults, but definitely was a lot more adult in theme.
Yeah, perhaps. That's interesting, right?
And now it's become a lot younger as a targeted audience.
Well, as I've watched comics, right, and comics have gone through that whole thing where it's like, you know, they were intended for younger audiences initially. Mm-hmm. Then they went through nobody young is buying comics. Right. So it became very adult in like the Vertigo days, and DC really coming up with, you know, all of these amazing artists and writers writing just brutal stuff. Yeah. Right? Alan Moore, you know, all of this going into just the standard superhero genre and rewriting it, toppling it. And now today we have things like, you know, the Avengers movies, which wouldn't have been possible without it becoming a more adult synced genre. Right. And so I'm certain anime has seen that too. Maybe it started as more adult and then has gotten younger, or maybe you're just getting older.
That could be as well, yeah.
You know, I know full well, and I say it tongue-in-cheek here on stream a lot, that it's not made for me. And I have to appreciate that at some point in time, I stopped being the audience, right? The characters in your favorite anime or in your favorite series don't always grow at the same pace you do. They're trying to reach you 10 years ago. Yep. But the new version of you from 10 years ago, and keep the story alive. And that's perfectly fair. That's why I don't feel like Star Wars is made for me. I thought Andor was pretty good. You know, we talked about.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
Star
I
Wars
think Andor is
like
a huge departure from stylistically from that entire franchise.
Oh yeah,
which I loved because I'm so sick and tired of the garbage that they've been making, with the exception of like some of the Mandalorian stuff. But it's just, oh, it's interesting. Find all of this very, very.
Well, and I love talking about it because, you know, we as fans, you know, we say it all the time, especially as nerds, we have a love for this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when you love something so much and you grew up with it and you didn't grow out of it, right? It's almost
Yeah.
like they designed this stuff to not think you would stay with it. That it hits you when you're 13, and by the time you're 18, you're on to, something else, and they're marketing totally different things to you. And there's those of us as nerds that are like, no, but I really still want to watch Robotech.
Yeah.
But Robotech doesn't grow with you. It doesn't turn into the themes that matter to you as you age.
Yes.
Because no matter if you still like it, it may not be able to follow with you. It's going to tell whatever the story for the day's teenagers is, and it just bypasses me. So, but that's why there's markets for doing things like Battle Angel movie and stuff like that. I wish that the world would have accepted that better, because I had high hopes for that.
Yeah, and that was you that was telling me about how good the manga is, or the short novels.
Oh, they're amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Battle Angel manga is great. I love it. Now, I stopped after like the Tipari's main books, right? It's still going today, I think. I don't have any idea. They're on other planets and stuff like that now, probably. But, yeah, it was phenomenal. A lot of those I got into that way. I think Priest was one of them. Kind of a weird Wild West. Or Preacher. No, Preacher was the American one. It's called Priest. Some battle priest and demons in the Wild West. Obviously, Lone Wolf and Cub, my favorite manga of all time.
Oh yeah.
Like, I could sit there sobbing at the end and still remember being in my chair reading the last issue as it came out in the correct format small books in the US, and I have them all, right? And I was just like blown away. You're just like, oh my God. It's too much.
It's definitely one of the best, from my understanding.
You would just always remember his son sitting there, having never spoken a word, holding the katana, right? And it's all just that silhouetted scene.
Yep.
And it's like, all right, I'm done. Best book ever. I quit.
Yeah, if you've not ever experienced Lone Wolf and Cub, you should spend some time and read it.
Star Trek: The Next Generation, still great 35 years later.
True.
It has some great episodes. I am not a Next Generation guy. I'm an original series guy because that was sci-fi for me as a kid. Right? I grew up on it. I appreciate Next Generation. I did not like all the characters.
Next Gen was it's so weird because like I'm a little bit of both. But I'm not TOS levels of old school, because I got into Star Trek with the original movies, so the Kirk movies.
Yep. Wrath of Khan,
Search for Spock, Voyage Home, all that stuff, right? So like that's where my foundational love and appreciation for that franchise started. But I never got to watch the show as a kid.
Yeah.
So I skipped all the TV show stuff. So my experience as a kid was largely just the movies.
The movies, yeah, sure.
And this includes like all of the Picard movies. And I think probably of all of the movies, my favorite is probably First Contact. Of all of the Star Trek movies that have ever come out.
Yep.
I think it's just the best movie. But that's my personal preference. Voyage Home is all about the whales.
No, it's not. That's a horrible flick.
I love that movie.
Oh my God.
I love that movie so much. I love it because it's fun. I don't love it because it's good.
It's like whales.
Yeah. There be whales here.
Whales.
It is literally the silliest premise. But it is also a pretty, like... It's definitely a Star Trek premise
Oh yeah.
for a movie.
Oh yeah.
It's like, hey, look, this weird alien thing came out of nowhere. And it's messing us up. We gotta go find some whales to speak to this alien thing.
Hey, somebody likes us.
Hey, we like you too. Who likes us?
It needs a laugh track. That's hilarious.
Gager Senior, hello.
Gaggers, what's going on? Thank you for the follow. Friggin' transparent aluminum.
Oh my gosh, yeah, transparent aluminum. My favorite one is when he picks up the mouse and he goes, "Hello, computer?" And then the guy looks at him like he's a crazy person. He's like, "Oh." And then he starts typing on the keyboard. I love it. I love it. That movie's awesome.
It's really not.
It's awesome.
It's really not.
That movie is just fun. Don't try and yuck my
Don't yuck your yum.
my yum over here.
Stop yucking my yum.
Yeah, get away from them, you savages. Yeah, it's too many hobbies. It's totally right. Or the punk dude on the bus who's jamming on the with his like his whatchamacallit on full blast, and Spock just knocks him out. Double damn hell to you too. So good. So good.
So bad.
It's the best.
So bad.
It's probably the best of those movies.
Oh my god, Wrath of Khan is the best of those movies.
I-
And you shut your filthy pie hole
I like
if
Wrath
you don't
of Khan
say exactly the same thing.
a lot. Objectively, Wrath of Khan is significantly better. Objectively. I still think
You shut your
Um,
filthy ape pile hole.
I think what's Undiscovered Country is probably my favorite.
Undiscovered Country is which one?
The sixth one.
That's still Kirk?
Yes. Undiscovered Country is the one where Kirk and Spock get they get framed for killing the Klingon ship that they
Oh yeah,
meet
yeah,
up
yeah, yeah,
with,
yeah, yeah.
and they get put in a Klingon prison planet
Yeah.
on that frozen ice world.
Yeah, 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 with the big monster.
Yeah, yeah. That's a fantastic film. That is a really, really good Star Trek movie. You know what, T. Schmidt? For the motion picture, it has been so long since I've seen it. I don't have opinions.
What's that?
I don't think they're good opinions, though.
What's that?
T. Schmidt's asking for opinions on the motion picture.
Feature! Horrible.
Yeah.
Not great. Not great.
Parkertron, you're right. First Contact is amazing.
Somebody gave him a huge budget and forgot the script.
Yeah. Yep. There's also like a particular episode of TNG that I've watched that's one of my favorite. I want to say it's called The Measure of a Man. And it like goes over the legality of Data's rights in Starfleet.
Okay.
It's a fantastic episode. I don't know if you remember this one or not. If you've
Like
ever
I
watched it.
said, the Next Gen was not something that I watched very often.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, my first wife she liked the first gen. She was not a nerd at all, but she liked the first generation or the Next Generation stuff. And and I, so every now and then I would see it, but I was not really interested in it. The characters just weren't. I didn't like Worf. I didn't like a lot of the stuff happening on it.
The episode basically goes over the concept, like there's like a science officer that comes to the Enterprise and says that he wants to basically disassemble and like study Data.
who I'm sure you know who Data is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I
So
didn't like him either.
you don't like him either?
I literally didn't like Geordi. I didn't like Data.
Oh.
I didn't like Riker or whatever his name is. It was really hard. I like Picard. I thought Picard was a brilliant captain.
Yeah.
So that whole series was kind of lost on me because the supporting cast I didn't really dig. So it was really tough, you know.
Yeah.
And I didn't like the movies for the same reason. I didn't like the Scientist, 7 of 9, none of that stuff. Was 7 of 9 in that?
That's Voyager.
Huh?
That's Voyager.
Voyager. Yeah, I didn't like, you know, I couldn't buy Reading Rainbow being on the bridge. I couldn't buy all the characters. It was just tough. It was very tough for me.
Reading Rainbow.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Geordi.
Was he reading Rainbow?
Yeah.
Huh.
Ghost is like, I'm dead right now. It's tough for me, man. Tough. It was the next generation, and I was not part of that generation. It was just hard for me, man.
Makes me
Hard.
sad.
I'm not trying to ruin anybody's day. I'm old and bitter.
Makes me sad.
It never affected me though. I don't care about it, right? I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
saying that it was a bad show. It
no,
just
you
never
just say
floated
you didn't
with
care
me.
for it. Yeah.
Yeah, it just never floated with me. It never gelled. The storytelling never gelled for me really well. It was really weird. I don't know. And I don't know if it was because it was so different from the regular Star Trek or because when it came out, it was not what I thought sci-fi needed to be.
That could be.
I felt like the progression of sci-fi at the time of the Next Generation should have been so much more. And yet, we got that.
Yeah, it was less of a, I mean, it was still a sci-fi show, but it was definitely more about people, and it was more about like ideologies of the Federation.
I mean, Star Trek always was that.
Yeah, but it really like pushed it, in my opinion. But, and you said you watched Strange New Worlds, right? And you said you liked it?
You know, chat makes fun of me
Don't
because I
remember
can't remember which one it is that I like. I think it is Strange New Worlds.
Strange New Worlds is the one with Pike.
Pike,
That's-
yes.
Yeah. I really enjoyed that show. I thought it was spectacular.
And there was some other one that I watched that was okay as well. That was just right before Strange New World.
It probably would have been ones where the Klingons looked funny.
Yes.
Yes.
Destiny or something? I don't know.
Discovery.
Discovery, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people didn't like Discovery. I didn't really mind it. I thought it took a little bit more like.
I think that was the one that
Sci-fi.
had the woman who was kind of the first officer, and was it a woman captain too?
Yeah.
And the
Georgia-
first officer had to go and she fought a Klingon out in space, hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah.
I thought all that was done really well.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't mind any of that, but I also didn't have a whole lot of time to pay attention to it beyond just the episode I watched. So I probably.
Oh, you only watched the one episode or a couple?
I think I watched
episodes?
2 or 3.
Okay.
You know,
It goes to some weird places, and also technically leads into Strange New Worlds.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. I think it is technically of the same like universe spin-off that Strange New Worlds is in.
same time zone. Or time
Well,
frame.
not timeline, but actual like
where those events occurred.
yes.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
In that reality with which those events occurred.
Because there is stuff that happens during season 2 and 3 of Discovery that they
Oh, I
briefly mention.
Definitely never watched it that far.
Yeah.
No, I wanted The Expanse to be the sci-fi series that I fell back in love with and got me into sci-fi TV again. And it was for a minute, but it was so diverse from the books that it lost me a little.
I think on its own, it's good enough.
Right, I've said that. I said
Yeah.
that, earlier, well, not today, but I've said before that on its own it was not bad. It's just that I know it from the books.
Yeah.
And it lost so much of the political end of things in the show that I didn't think that they lived up to what I had hoped for. That's a fair statement.
Well, I think I mean I definitely agree with you, right? This is not me disagreeing with your assertion because I do wish that it had more political stuff in it. I think that their time spent in book 2 of The Expanse, which is basically the latter half of season 2 and the first half of season 3, did not focus nearly enough on the political stuff. Oh yeah, the actress that played Avsarala is a perfect casting for that character. You could not get a better actress to play that character, I think.
Is that the governor?
It's the old lady.
Yeah, she was like the planetary governor.
Yeah. Or the second. She was like second in charge or something.
Yeah, whatever it was. She was behind
Yeah.
whatever it was.
She ends up becoming it, but
yeah, she was like the ambassador.
yes,
Yeah, she was fantastic.
she killed it. Samson A rating. Oh, Samson Arts. I got a little piece of paint on there. What's up, Sam? How's it going?
Mr. Sam, what's going on?
Thank you for the raid. Welcome, Raiders. I
How
hope
we
you all are
doing?
having a wonderful day. Enjoyed a wonderful stream with Sam.
How you doing on your Friday? Hope everybody's doing good.
No, I am. We're having a wonderful conversation about nerdy stuff here. Sci-fi movies and TV shows and stuff while we paint up some cool robots.
I'm on
Welcome.
Battletech number 42.
You can tell how excited he is about it now.
I'm losing steam fast.
Sounds like you just gotta finish painting it fast then.
Well, I'm not going to rush it any more than I already am, because I'm already rushing it. I feel like 42 battle mechs and a dropship inside 3 weeks is pretty decent.
Yeah, I think you have earned the seal of approval when it comes to I've spent a lot of time working on this project.
But I am kind of over it. I'm excited. I'm going to be starting next week doing the Death Knight.
Yeah, it'll be exciting.
So I'm excited to get going on the Death Knight from Journeyman Miniatures. We'll be painting him up.
Working on an Imperial
Cathetix.
Guard diorama. That's awesome.
Nice.
That's super cool.
Cathetix, you were here yesterday. I remember you.
Cathetix.
Because it's Cathetix.
Cathetix, that's right.
Because he told us how to pronounce the name.
Yes, thank you for that, by the way.
But hey, Sam, how you doing, man?
Paints.
Hope the stream went well.
Oh, Cathetix just got his or her first set
That's
of
right.
our paints.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I hope you are enjoying them. If you ever have any questions about them, let us know.
Mo, what is this heresy? I should switch to clan mechs? You
I
just
agree
want to
with
see
this.
a grown man die? You break this old man's heart? Oh my god, I'm playing Battletech the other night, alright? So Battletech, the video game, and I'm playing with the Rogue Tech add-ons, if you know anything about it. It's like this really preposterously large, cumbersome group of add-ons for the game. But it gives you every mech ever in the history of ever, and every weapon ever in the history of ever, and all sorts of really hard missions, and it just changes the game entirely. And I started a new run-through, and one of my pilots' name is Grandpa. That's his call tag, is Grandpa. And it has the meme dude, you know, the old guy with like the cup of coffee. He's got like the gray beard, kind of round face, the meme Grandpa.
Yeah.
Right?
Uh-huh.
It's his face in a mech warrior helmet.
Oh, that's
right?
so funny.
So I know it's gonna be funny. They do crazy voiceovers in the mod. So it has it has his voiceover starts when we go into mission. And they click on him and get him to do something. And he goes, oh, what? Oh, I was sleeping.
That's awesome.
And then you cause him to shoot, and he's a really good pilot. He has really good skill sets, so you want to use him a lot. But his voiceover stuff is hilarious. He like shoots and misses, right? He goes, "Oh, I can't believe I missed." He goes, "I also can't believe I'm still alive."
Gosh.
He talks about something about how he's like he goes like it's like the bullets are bouncing around inside the mech, and he goes it's kind of like dinner after a long Saturday night or something like that. He's got the worst like old man just about to die, like, oh, it's the big one. I was too busy cracking up to complete the mission right. So funny. It does get old after a minute, though. You're like, okay, that's enough. Turn the old man off. I don't need to hear it anymore. I bet you can't wait to hit number 43. There's only 42. So, like many 42 is the last one. The thing we got going on here is this ridiculous... Oh, this isn't on.
Oh. I should probably do that.
This isn't on. There we go. I've got 42. I've got a complete battalion plus command lance and their dropship. So, yeah. It's kind of nuts.
Kinda?
Because I've done start to finish, like, nonstop. So, yeah, I feel like kind of nuts. I don't want to go that I'm full nuts, because that...
I think we've reached full nuts.
Have we reached full nuts?
Yeah, I think you've gone full nuts.
We've gone full nuts. Never go full nuts.
Oh, sometimes.
Never go full nuts.
Sometimes, my friend, sometimes you go full nuts.
Well, go. Did we get Sam in here? Sam, where you at?
Well, Sam was talking a minute ago.
How you doing, big man? Working on Imperial Guard. I saw your Imperial Guard diorama, by the way, with the like the 88 millimeter, like, you know, long Tom cannon in the ground and the troops running over it. I love the setup on it. I can't wait to see some progress.
I'll have to go take a look at it.
Yeah, I love when Sam gets into diorama mode. He's a great visual storyteller with his basing.
Hey, we're almost done with this non-elemental on this thing.
For those of you that were here prior, if you've not gone to check out Mr. Sam Lins, fantastic artist. Great
He's
all-around dude.
Right, I guess.
Great all-around dude. Go check out his channel.
That's true. Fantastic guy.
Fourth Man, he's got a great Patreon. I think he's got a Patreon still.
Yes. Yep. Unless he, like, canceled it in the last week. We rated him the other day and he was talking about it. So I would hope it's still around.
I hope he's still around.
Yeah.
I need more bright yellow green. I would ask Jordan what he has planned for the weekend, but we know
Oh my gosh.
he's on a road trip. Good old baby J over here is taking a road trip to go play a card game he's never played in a nationals tournament, a regionals tournament.
Yep. I'm gonna go play at a regional level event for a game I've literally never played before. That's only been released to the public for
A week.
and I'm I'm getting bequeathed the deck for the weekend.
I think this is the greatest thing ever.
And we're gonna go see if we can't get ourselves pro level event invites.
I love it if you guys come home as like, hey, we got Pro Tour invites.
Yeah,
never played the game.
That's why I was like, man, I don't know how I'm gonna feel.
Every game starts someplace, and if they do a deal like that has invites in it very early on, it's a good chance that you guys, being good card players as you are, you might pull it off.
Yeah,
as long as you learn the mechanics of it here pretty quick.
Well, and the game seems very simple, so it's based very heavily on Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh, of which I have played a lot of. So it's one of those things that it's just kind of like in my wheelhouse of games to know how to play well.
Sure.
Which I think is why Jacob.
Well, and you're
was
just a generally good card player.
Yeah, I mean, I played card games.
You played
for
a lot. Yeah,
so
you played a lot.
long, right?
200 players.
Wad Tomato. We're talking about Battle Spirit Saga. It's a new card game that just came out last week.
Another crazy Bandai anime.
I don't even think it's based on an anime that I know of, at least.
Well, it may not be based on an anime, but it's trying to be one.
Maybe.
Like dragons.
I have no interest in the art. I have no interest in the game so far, but I've been convinced to go, so I'm going.
We didn't help. We were all like, dude, he's paying for gas and Airbnb. All you gotta do is buy food. Sounds like a good getaway to me.
Yeah.
Don't pass up a good time. Hang out with Jacob for a weekend. Find out if he snores. Have him kill you because you snore.
Yep.
Did you stay with Jacob? No, you stayed with Phil.
Yeah.
At Adepticon. This will be interesting. It's always interesting to me when employees go out and hang out for the first time like that, as to whether or not we get one back or both.
I mean, we spent a lot of time hanging out at Adepticon, so I think we'll be fine.
Come back and Jacob's like, I never want to talk to you again.
It's only going to be if we get matched up round 1 and I beat him.
Suck his hopes and dreams
Which
out.
has happened to me in large events before, by the way.
What, you get picked up, you get matched with your friend that you went with?
Yeah.
Out of 1,000 people?
Yeah. That has happened to me more than once, actually.
I've gotten sat at a lot of draft tables with people in my own group, but we know how to signal each other and do stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that was never a real big problem until we wound up at, finals.
Top tables, yeah. And you're like, well, all bets are off, boys.
I mean, it's usually pretty easy because you can be like, all right, you won last time, so I get this one. Yeah. Look, you rotten bastard. All right. Basing material time. Ugh. I don't think I have it in me. Drive 2 hours, play your friends. Yeah, exactly, Wad.
It's a 4-hour drive, too.
Mo says just don't get too crazy and have to call me to bail you out. That'll never happen.
No.
Never heard of him. You are receiving a collect call from... Where are you going?
Palm Springs?
Palm Springs Detention. I'm like, never heard of him. Click. Jacob, never heard of him. We got a Yakob. He's a Russian spy. Probably shouldn't tell him that at the jail.
No. No, you probably should not.
Oh, I shouldn't be allowed to talk to people. Like, I feel like that's probably step one in keeping the world safe.
Well,
is to just not let me talk to people.
You run this business, so...
I can help run the business. I don't have to actually talk to people. Except you guys. You're already acclimated to me, so that's all right.
You've been talking to people all day. Been in meetings all day talking to people.
Yeah, I'm saying maybe we should stop that.
Talk to Jen. That's between you two.
Mo asks, what was the Battletech app called? I don't use one. On the web, it's mordel.net. 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 That's one where you can search through Canon designs and print out all of the data sheets for the game. Mordel.net is the deal. I don't talk to people. I talk to Chet.
You talk to chat. Chat, you guys are fun to talk to.
Cathetix is Battletech. Oh, for the game, the video game mod, it's called Rogue Tech. It makes it more like a roguelite, right? So you get to do more skirmish. You don't have to follow a storyline. You set yourself up as a mercenary. You pick your background. It gives you certain perks, and then you just take your thing across the galaxy and fight wherever you want. You get to choose your battles and stuff. It's a lot harder, and it scales a lot harder. And it's very brutal because if you tune down the things that are hard, it takes a lot of your salvage away. So you have to dial it up in toughness to get better and better stuff, which is what you want, right? It kind of turns it into, like an action RPG version of Battletech to some extent. But it's a lot of fun. It's some of the mech, some of the chassis renderings in there are horrible because it's like old art, that they stole from like MechWarrior 2 and put it into the game. It's horrible. I think I got a Falcon mech the other day, and I'm like, this is the worst art ever. It doesn't look anything like the rest of the game, other than the skins are the same coloring and texture, but the wireframe for the mech is horrible. So it's pretty funny, actually. Cathetix asks, is Battletech good? The video game or the tabletop game? I'm going to say both or yes.
I would agree.
I don't play the video game as much anymore, right? All the video games get boring to me over time. But the tabletop game is fantastic. Yeah, the tabletop game's great. It's very inexpensive to get into. Most of the mechs that you see me playing here are not most. A lot of them are from the starter set. You get 8 mechs in the starter set. I don't remember which ones they are. But you get 8 mechs in the starter set, and that starter set costs you $50.
You can find it online for like 40, 45 too.
Yeah. So, and it's sold at like Barnes and Noble. They've tried to really get it out in front of people in a bigger way than like 40K or something like that. And it's existed since the early 80s. Realize this is the first tabletop game I ever played when I was like 12. Like 82, 83, called Battle Droids. It came in a Ziploc bag with a bunch of cardboard chits, like punch-out cardboard chits. And then models from Ralpartha came. They called it Battletech, FASA, and all that. And so I played it for a long time. And it was the first models. That's why I'm going full bore, is because these were the first models that I painted in a way that I was really dedicated to trying to get them, painted well. And so I'm just painting up a full battalion with a story behind it and having fun with it for a campaign we're going to do here. But it has, as far as like ways to play, depth of play, ease of play, I think it's one of the best games out there. A lot of people will kind of have negative opinions of it because it can get very, very crunchy and feel more like an accountant simulator. But that's when you put a bunch of rules in it. And it has like the main rule book from page 1 to page 399 or however big the book is, has an absolute crap ton of rules that you can layer the game with. But you can also use about 10% of those rules and have it be amazingly fun. The base core gameplay stuff is very, very simple to learn. Not much to do. The data sheets are kind of like having a D&D character, but you don't have to fill in much. You just print out your mech that you want to play, and it has everything you need on the sheet. So all of your skills are on the sheet, all of your toughness and everything is on the sheet. So it makes it all of the, if you know just some fundamental rules, the sheet's all you need. And then they have cheat sheets that come in the rule book for all your target numbers to hit and all that kind of stuff. But I love it. I think it's great. The ability to do endless types of scenarios is great. And that's really where the game comes alive. I would say it's probably not as fun. We've been talking about it all week here. It's not as fun if what you're trying to do is just do a rock'em sock'em robots, kill the other team, because it takes a long time to play. Believe it or not, like one mech, it takes a long time to kill. You generally play with 4 models. So you would put together a lance, and you might do, something like this. And you have 4 mechs that you play, and the other team has 4 or 5. And that game can take 3 hours if you're just trying to kill one side off. So it can take a long time. But if you play it with objectives, you can play a good game in like an hour and a half, 2 hours. and have a tremendous amount of fun. But it's not always about just blowing up all the other mechs.
Your Grace Spear, my wife is very unhappy with you guys making a war game. Why is that?
Random J Berry says that the crunch is the fun part. Yeah, it definitely can be. It can expand it to whatever you like to be, and I like that. I like that we can get as kind of deep into it as you want. You know, it has rules for all sorts of weather patterns and time of day and, you know, fog of war and anything you want to layer into it. Or you can just set your models on the board and go to war, right? Say there's an objective in the middle, go get it and get off the board edge, you know? And so you can win fast if you have the right loadout, or it can take forever. So I think it's a lot of fun. Inexpensive. Yeah, like I said, the base game is enough for 2 players to play and has everything you need, including the map, the mechs, the data sheets, everything you need. I think 48 is what we got ours for. $48 with 8 mechs in it. So not bad. Rule book, the whole 9. It's the light rule book. It doesn't have like 399 pages. That rule book's like $35 on its own, but. And then you can just buy what mechs you want. A lot of the mechs come in what are called what are they called?
Lances?
Force packs.
Oh.
Like force packs or something like that. And so you can get like a lance of 4 mechs. A lot of people take those and bust them open and sell the individual mechs. They're more expensive one by one, but you can go through on eBay and buy the individual mechs that you want and not have to, you know, buy the packs. But the packs for like 4 mechs, like $20. So the mechs average about anywhere from $4 to $6 a piece retail, which is not bad. They're already fully put together. They come on the base, you know, so they're already glued to the base. They're, you know, hard plastic or PVC technically. So you can just paint them up. I don't have a gray one here anymore. Look, because they're all painted. But yeah, they just come in gray plastic. Put them on a map. Play it. It's all a hex base. That's why the bases are hex map. The map is hex. So each thing moves by hexes. So there's no tape measures you need. Nothing. You need 2d6. And that's it. So it's really easy.
The starter set probably even gives you the 2d6 too. Don't be surprised.
T. Schmidt says, and when Fuse says skills, there's only 2, piloting and gunnery. Yeah. Yeah, technically there's more, but you really only do the 2. Yeah, I don't even bother cleaning them up, Mo.
Prime them up. Prime them up, slap some paint on them, and get to work.
Yeah, the other skills teach matter for when you go deeper in the game and bring other unit types in. When you go the full, like, vehicles, infantry, aerospace, all that kind of stuff. Barry, yeah, we've got the Battletech movement dice here, and they're an absolute chef's kiss to the game. Make it too easy. The game moves a lot faster when you don't have to remember what 6-sided die does what. You just put the movement die down, boom, done. I got the white, black, and red ones. The other guys here have the blue, green, and red, which I think is a little chintzy because those are totally different. Those are the green, blue, and red are meant for vehicles, I think. Cathadic says, so it's basically the polar opposite of 40K. Yes and no. It is from a entry point perspective, right? It's low cost. Don't have to build the model, so you can get to playing. I mean, literally, to play the game is as quick as you get the box in your hands, open it, dump the stuff out, and read the first 20 pages of the book. Speed read. And you can be playing the game. As far as like depth of ability to play, like in a tournament scenario and things like that, Battletech can go as deep as you want it to. So the more you learn, the more you get into it. You don't have to spend more money necessarily. You can buy 4 mechs and own 4 mechs and play everything that way. You're not going to want to. You're going to want, because all the mechs, even though they kind of, some can look very similar, they all have a personality to them and what they're built for, what they do well, points that they cost, things like that. So, you know, you wind up, I mean, maybe you don't do 42 and go insane like I am, but, and that's actually a lie, because the 80 on my desk makes it even worse.
He has a lot of mechs, chat.
Yeah, I think there's like 130 something last I thought of, but I don't plan to use all those. So, I went a little nuts.
A little?
Yeah, a little. I feel like a little is the right way to describe that.
Okay.
Millimeter Matt, you have the Alpha Strike starter box, but won't play until you have things painted. What's the typical point value you're looking for an intro game? So I don't know on Alpha Strike. Its points are different. I think that Alpha Strike is like... Somebody tell me if I'm wrong. Is it like 70 to 100 points, or am I too low? Alpha Strike's a little bit different because the pointing is different. It's made to play as a more of a skirmishy game. You play with more mechs, believe it or not, in the skirmish version of Battletech, which is Alpha Strike. Different rule set. Also very fun, but instead of mechs, so this Centurion, right, in the main game, or in classic Battletech it's called, right, playing regular Battletech, this guy has like 148 points of armor, and so all of those points of armor are divided up between the arms, the left, right torso, center torso, and legs, and head, right, so each area of the body has a certain amount of armor, and as you shoot, you randomize where you hit, and you take armor off of that body part that you hit. So you start to see very quickly that each mech is kind of like an army unto itself, as opposed to every time you roll dice and you hit and you wound and a thing dies. Here, that's not how it works. You can get very lucky and get like a through armor crit on the CT and blow it up, right? But you'd have to boxcar kind of thing, or get a headshot. But again, it's boxcars usually to do that. So you're very rarely ever taking off a mech in one turn. Unless you do something very, very wrong and let the entire opposite team focus fire you for some reason, then you might, depending on who you're facing, you might lose a mech in one turn. But mechs are very, very tough. They tend to stick around for a long time, so you start to think more tactically, because you can position a mech and then retreat it out of combat, and then put it back into combat and retreat it out of combat, and create a situation where your opponent is always having to pay attention to you, because you can't just turn around and wipe that unit off the board, right? It's just not possible in most cases. And so, you wind up getting as deep as you want. Alpha Strike, on the other hand, this same mech, I think, has 7 health, right? And so when you play an Alpha Strike, or maybe 6 health, when you play an Alpha Strike, you have like a roll to hit, and your mech has a damage value at short, medium, and long range. So if I were to shoot you from medium range, this mech, I think, has a damage value of 2, maybe 3. And it depends on if it has the AC 20. It could be much bigger than that. But let's say it does 3 damage from medium range. You roll to hit, you do 3 damage. So your other mech may only have 7 health, and now he's lost nearly half of his health. So you take that into comparison mode. That would be like in one shot doing over 70 points of damage to this guy, which is nearly impossible in the main game. So the main game is meant to be a more tactical, drawn-out engagement. Alpha Strike also has a box set you can start with, and we're in no way affiliated with this game at all. We just love it. Alpha Strike also has a box set. I'm probably their best salesperson.
Yeah, you probably are.
Alpha Strike has a box set that is a 2-player box set. It comes with 12 mechs. And it's technically like a 3-player box set, but it's really 2. And it's like $75, $60 to $75 you'll find it for, depending on if you can catch it on sale. And it's made to play with a lot more models, and it goes a lot faster. Or if it takes the same amount of time, you have a lot more to play with it. You can play with a lot more of your toys. So it's a lot of fun. Yeah, Barry, exactly. Yeah, because it comes with a clan star of 5 and then 2 Intersphere Lances of 4 apiece. So I think it's 12 mechs. So, or is that 13? 5 and 8, 13. 13 mechs. Cathedic says that his wife says sarcastically, "Thank you for getting you into yet another miniature war game."
You're welcome.
Doing my part. Alpha Strike doesn't have a limit. Well, classic Battletech doesn't have a limit either. It's kind of like where you find people playing most of the time. If you look on YouTube, a lot of people do Alpha Strike games, and you'll see them at their points levels and put together. Because I don't remember, there's like some Alpha Strike mechs that have like a point, like some of the big assault mechs that are crazy have like a point of like 40 something for the mech. So I feel like you're probably in that 100 range max. Because a 40 point mech, I feel like an Alpha Strike is a beast. Right? That's like taking a 3,000 battle value mech in classic Battletech. Classic Battletech plays at generally 5,000 to 6,000 battle value, we call it. And each mech has a battle value level. So like the Centurion's probably a 1,200 battle value or 1,100 battle value mech. And so you can start thinking real quick, if you have 6,000 battle value and you're playing with 4 mechs, you can put together. And That's all. You'll learn very quickly how that's configured. You can have light mechs, like little bitty, fast-moving mechs that are more expensive than, big mechs. This is a good example. This Raptor costs more than my Catapult C1, right? Because it moves a lot faster, still has a lot of guns. It's very hard to hit because of its speed. So they have a very good balancing mechanism for how mechs are costed. So you can build in a myriad of different ways. So again, unlike 40K, or similar to 40K, list building is very crucial and fun, to me at least. You can go as deep as you want in your list building. Dissimilar to 40K, there's no requirements other than you have this point level you're playing towards. Some scenarios might say that you're limited to an amount of tonnage you can take, and each mech has a weight. They go from 20 tons to 100 tons, technically 15 tons, but 20 tons to 100 tons. And so you might run a scenario that says you're limited to 150 tons, and no single mech can be over 45 tons or something like that, right? So all of a sudden it limits you into smaller mech chassis, but the scenario is built around speed, maybe. So it's a lot of fun. Barry says, I made the mistake of doing a kill game to teach some people the game, and it was between a single Griffin and a single Shadowhawk. It took 2 hours. Yeah, well, when you only have one mech, it feels bad, too. We've done that a lot around here. Here, you put your mech down, I'll put my mech down, we'll learn the basics. And I said, we're not going to finish this game. We're going to put them real close to where we're shooting round one, and I just want to show you the stages of the game. Move, declare fire, shoot, apply heat, do all your stuff, and then go to round two. Because it's not unlikely doing like the Griffin versus Wolverine thing that both players just miss. Like you just whiff, and the other guy whiff, because you need 11s to hit, because you're both jumping 5 hexes each turn. So, yeah, you get into that situation where you need to have the 4 mechs, you need to have flexibility, you need to have somebody that's a sniper standing still, getting good numbers to hit, other guys that are moving around. It becomes a lot more dynamic. But it really is the scenarios that bring it to life. We played 2 scenarios last weekend. The first scenario was called Bring It Down. Both scenarios are ones that I just made up. And the Bring It Down scenario is that there was a big character, Direwolf Daishi, that was trying, its dropship had gotten shot down, and it was the last survivor, and so they sent out a Lance MX to figure it out and didn't know what it was. Show up, and here's this big behemoth with tons of firepower. And I needed to try to get it off the opposite end of the board, and they needed to try to kill it without destroying it because they wanted to salvage it. And we wound up as a technically a win for me, I guess, because they didn't get to salvage it, but everybody died. I died, and I killed everybody else. So 1v4, and I wiped out their entire Lance. But it was the last shot of the game that did it. And then on Saturday, we played a 4v4 game of kind of King of the Hill. We put that same Daishi in the middle of the map after it had been blown up, so that you could come in and retrieve the data out of its black box. And so all 4 players we all got together, and you had to go stand your mech next to this downed monstrosity in the middle of the board for 2 turns. Which once you've played a game of Battletech, you know that standing still for 2 turns, worst idea ever. But you had to go stand still next to it for 2 turns to collect the data, and then GTFO. And it was a lot of fun. And we actually had a guy win. He dodged in as everybody else was getting in, getting dead, running out, and everybody's trying to shoot him. He dodged in, got the data without us noticing, and GTFO'd and won the game. So it was a sly trickery move, but it was a lot of fun. And again, it wasn't about killing everybody. It was about playing for an objective and then using your mechs that survive for long periods of time to achieve that objective in a neat way. So it can be a lot of fun. But generally, if you're playing the game right, you'll feel like the game ends and you may not have lost a mech. And that fits really well for like campaign play because it has an RPG element to it. You might have a pilot that you've spent experience points on to level up his gunnery skill so he shoots better. So in this game, it's very easy to play the whole game and not lose your mech or kill your pilots. So you just kind of go back after, you limp off the field, and you pay the money that you earn to fix your mechs, and then you live to fight again. So it has a very story-based attitude to it, which I think is really cool. But again, it can just be put your mechs on the table and beat the crap out of each other. It plays the way you want to play it. Declare fire is literally saying every target for gun before shooting, right? Correct, and you cannot change it. Yes. Yep. The declaration of fire is really neat because this whole system is based on constantly moving simultaneous combat in a I go, you go format, right? That's alternating activations. kind of style, and it makes you declare all of your shots, because in combat you can't react fast enough to be like, oops, no, I'll shoot over here, because you're already getting shot again. So you'll declare your shot, and if that mech dies, your shots are wasted. So it really makes you think about how you're applying damage. Do you focus fire everybody on this mech that's barely alive, because probably you'll waste a bunch of shots? And so it really makes you think. I love it. I think it's great. You went until you blew off a limb?
Crazy how bad losing a leg is in the game.
Oh, yeah. Just getting your hip crit is bad.
Yeah. And then we didn't really realize how bad it was for a leg blown off result.
Cathetics just ordered the Alpha Strike set. We win. We got another player. Yeah, it's great. I love it. It has a lot of, like I said, it has a lot of history for me. This mech, not this particular model, but this mech is called a Battlemaster, and the Battlemaster with this lozenge pill, cockpit is one of the Dougram style mechs. It's a mech design they robbed completely from the anime Dougram. It is the first model that I ever painted up for a contest, and I won first place in the painting competition with. Again, it's not this mech. It was actually a much skinnier old Ralpartha metal model, but in this very similar pose, very similar design, and so it just echoes with me, right? If that's a thing. It just makes me happy. Playing the MechWarrior games underplay how bad legging a mech is. Well, if you play like MechWarrior Online, it definitely does.
Yeah,
until you blow both of them off.
If you're on MechWarrior Online, if you lose a leg, you're basically dead.
Yeah.
Whereas in the game...
Well, the thing with MechWarrior Online is that it doesn't cause you to ever take pilot checks and fall.
No, but it slows you down to a crawl.
Yeah, but I mean, a leg mech can still do all of its output of damage because it never takes a fall.
True.
Right? It never has to waste time and all that, so... Turns out legs are important. Yeah, it turns out making bipedal tanks probably a bad idea. Just gonna throw it out there. But the mechs are really cool looking, so we play the game.
That is very true.
You feel like when Ash does Alpha Strike, he does 2 200-point lances per side, so 8 mechs, 200 points apiece for your lances. That would seem about right, huh? Oh, I guess so, because you're playing with more, so I guess it would be up. So I was right for like the 100 or so per lance might be. 200 points a lance seems like a lot. But he may be playing with like really big, powerful stuff too. I like the nostalgia of playing with, the big, heavy, and assault mechs are very rare, right? Because they just cost too much to put on the battlefield and lose. And so you're in light, mediums, and small heavies most of the time. So that's the way my whole, this whole force is built that way, right? I don't have a lot of huge weight mechs, right? I think the Marauder at 75 tons. What else do I have that's 75 tons? Is a Thunderbolt 75 tons or 70? Something like that. Right? I have 4 assault mechs or 5 assault mechs total. 5 assault mechs total. But most of my other stuff is fairly reasonable. I haven't gone too crazy. We got to do basing. Over the weekend, I'll do my basing. While Baby J's on a road trip playing card games.
On a road trip. We're going on a road trip. Dealer of Death, thank you for the sub. 78 months. Holy Toledo.
Dealer been here for damn near ever.
Wildman.
Dealer, thanks. Good to see you, man.
47 months. Thank you for the sub,
Favorite
guys.
mech of each weight category from Dealer Death. He says he'll go first. Firestarter for light, Crab for medium, Marauder for heavy, and Stalker. Ooh, I couldn't find my Stalker model, or it would be in this here. I just don't know where it is. It's around here someplace, but I don't know where it is. It's probably on this disaster of a painting table I have, or in a case someplace over there. But I might be painting up a Stalker someplace along the line, because the Stalker is one of my favorites. Okay, we'll run through this. Light mech. My favorite light mech is probably the Javelin.
I'll just throw back my legs and pollute my britches with delight.
That's a tough one, though, right? But I'm going to go with Javelin. The The spider and the Jenner are
Well,
close seconds, though, so that's a
huzzah!
tough one.
I'll just throw back my legs and pollute my britches with delight.
Wildman Vol, what is going on? Thank you so much. 47 months. So yeah, so I will have to say that it would be the javelin I'll go with. Medium mechs. Oh, now you're talking my bread and butter. Can I get 3?
You get 1.
I think it's got to be the Wolverine. Probably the Wolverine.
I think the answer that you should be giving for what is your favorite mech is at all sizes a mech.
So this guy decides to take the hug-loving Mad Dog in our game the other day, the one with, 6 SRM6s.
That one.
When I told him the loadout, he was like, yes, that.
Yeah, you were like, this thing has a ridiculous amount of SRM6s.
It's an ERPPC and 6 SRM6s and like a small pulse laser.
It's got an LB5X.
Oh, LB5, that's right.
And the teeny tiny pulse.
No Steiner Scout Lance. No, I don't run the meme Lance. I don't like a lot of assault mechs. Again, it's just a feel that from the time that I was growing into Battletech was a time where, the idea, like I said, was that it was tons and tons of lights, some mediums, and rarely a heavy. And then assault mechs were like the demons of beyond. They weren't even really written into the books originally, right? And I think by the time you see one, you see an Atlas. And it just is like everybody's just freaked out, right? So it has that very 40K vibe to it about how precious this technology is, these Titans and stuff. So you wouldn't just risk putting them out on the field all the time. It changed over the years to where assaults just became ubiquitous and everybody plays them around the clan invasion. But yeah, so I think it would have to be, and I'm playing some of my favorite mechs are built into this whole list. That's the whole purpose of this list, is to be my faves. So if I'm gonna build my favorite stuff, probably a javelin. It's fast. It can throw out a lot of damage. It's technically it's called a fire javelin. It's got like 80 million medium lasers, so that's why it's the javelin. It's just fast enough, and it hurts. And then probably the Wolverine for my medium. Heavies. Oh, why you do this? Why you do this? Again, nostalgia-wise, the Orion, because that was my favorite heavy to play back in the day. Actual favorite heavy, probably the Catapult. Catapult or Crusader? I'm gonna go with Catapult just because it looks cooler, right? Assault mechs. Ugh. Why? Why you make me do this? Again, for nostalgia, the Battlemaster. For gameplay, probably the Zeus. That's a tough one too, though, because there's a lot of different things that I think about when I get to the assault class. They're not like one weight group. They're like 5 individual weight groups. The Night Star is also high up there, but I feel smarmy if I play a Night Star. It's one of those mechs that they tried to retune the game after the clan invasion with by saying, here's a lot of Gauss rifles and more armor than you can shake a stick at for really cheap. So I don't feel good playing a Night Star. So probably a Zeus or a Battlemaster I would put there. But that's a hard question, right? Because that's why I'm painting 42 freaking mechs, is because that's a hard question. Barry says Hollander, Bushwhacker, Jaeger mech, and King Crab. Boy, you like to live by the seat of your pants picking the Jaeger mech anywhere in there. Jaeger mech dies to a stiff wind. Puts out a lot of damage, but you better hide it. You better hide it.
One of these days, I want to play with a Kodiak.
I have killed a lot of riflemen and Jaeger
That's
mechs
my
with
goal.
spiders. Like, spiders are the bane of riflemen and Jaeger mechs.
Spider as in the light?
Yeah. They just can't handle it. It gets in their back arc, they have no armor. They're huge gun think of them as anti-aircraft gun platforms is the kind of story behind them.
Yeah.
They have no armor because they're not supposed to be in a direct firefight. They're supposed to be firing long-range heavy weapons at things flying up in the air.
Oh,
Right? They are literally mobile anti-aircraft positions. So when you put them on the ground against other mechs, they just evaporate. Well, but the Hollander is a meme mech, right? It's a light with a PPC or a Gauss rifle. So it's definitely a glass cannon, but all lights are. It's just a worse one. The Jaeger mech costs you a lot of points, so that's why I questioned it first. Dealer says, I've recently learned the beauty of the ugly and the Flash. The Flashman is devastating. It is a fantastic mech. It does not have... I think there's one chassis available to mercenaries, and it doesn't really fit the time frame that I was building for. So I limited myself in kind of a, not debilitating way, because I love all these mechs, but I limited myself to mechs that were available to mercenary units during the time frame of the clan invasion, early clan invasion, right? So everything here is only mechs that are available to mercenaries, the exact variant that is available to the mercenaries, not just a chassis, but down to variant level, except for one, and that's the Trebuchet. The Trebuchet is a 3C or 3M, I can't remember, I think 3C. It's a Star League era mech, and it's my leader. It's my unit leader, and it's been passed down. The story is that it's been passed down generation to generation to generation through the life of the Merc unit. And she owns it now. And so it's the only mech I have that would not be available. And it's a 50-tonner, it's a medium, so I don't feel like it's horrible. But it's literally one of my favorite mechs of all time. I can't put it above the Wolverine in just general usage, though, because it ain't great on the battlefield. It's just one of my favorite mechs of all time. Baby J, he'll like the Kodiak. Yes, because it likes to give people hugs, and that's what he does.
I like...
The Jaeger mech, actually, the Kodiak is actually good at range, too, depending on which one you take.
I am a big supporter of making people's days better, okay? What better way to do that is than giving out hugs.
Sam Ram, thank you.
With attached high volumes of SRMs.
Cathetix, this is a dropship. So dropships actually do have rules in the game. This is not one of them because it's not a canon dropship, although we're making it one. It is called the Leodon. The Leodon.
Lay it on.
Leodon is actually a species name for a type of pufferfish. I said it looked like a pufferfish. So I immediately got on to some science websites and found out all the genus species types for pufferfish. And a Leodon is an actual pufferfish. So I thought that was a cool name. So this is a Leodon dropship, but it's actually a troop carrier. It holds 4 mechs, right? So you can put 4 mechs in here. Right? And they get positively held in place and don't drop off. So I can carry my mechs to the table to play, and then once you get there, take them out, put them on the battlefield, because you only play with a lance of 4, generally. Put them on the battlefield, and then it's also a cool piece of terrain, and can have rules, right? You can treat this as like a Leopard dropship, and they have guns, and this could be a really cool scenario play piece, because you could be like, assault the dropship. Dropships have missile launchers and PPCs and lots of defenses and are really dangerous. So that could be a lot of fun too. Yeah, it's case too. I got mine from fortressminiatures.com. Like $65 and it's a ABS print and it's not a great one. So I have to say that I was not afraid to pay the $65 originally. It's hard for me to recommend paying $65 for this because it's a really bad print. Like, it has all of this, all that texture line stuff that's not supposed to be there, right? Like, I feel like you could do this at a much tighter layer line level. They could invest some more time to print these and be worth $65. As it is, it's cool. But I leave it up to you as to whether or not it's worth paying that kind of money for a bad 3D print. You can't get the STL file for the big one. You can get the STL file for a shorter version of it that only carries 2 mechs, though. Barry says, opinions on the Panther. Not a fan. I don't like light mechs that move like heavies. Or assaults, really, I think there's points better spent. I'm a guy that likes fast mechs. So if I'm going to put lights in my unit, I'm going to want them to move. You know, the more 7, 11, 7, 8, 12, 8s, or 8, 12, 7s I can get, things like that. I like jumping lights, spiders, venoms. So I have spiders and venoms in my deal. Commandos, you know, things that can move really fast. I'm worried less about the amount of damage they put out per trigger pull and the fact that they survive to pull the trigger a lot. Because a mech like the Panther just dies, right? If I get rid of its PPC, it's useless, right? And so generally it's moving so slow that it has bad numbers, and so I can target its arm and still be pretty okay to hit it. And if I target its arm with another PPC, it just loses its weapon, right? So I feel like light mechs they're unique, but I feel like I find myself building the lance around that utility of a slow light that's a sniper. I think you're better spent building put an enforcer or something along those lines in one of your medium slots. The enforcer has a better loadout, right? Than a Panther, more armor. You know, it's still slow. I think it moves 5'8", though, so you get a little bit more speed out of it. Yeah, you pay a little bit more points for it, but it opens up a slot to have a fast mover that can go and flank and cause your enemy a little bit of, oh my god, this thing's gonna, you know, get it off me kind of feel. I feel like lights are much better. You want mechs that can be able to have moved, you know, somewhere between 8 and 10 hexes every turn, so they're almost impossible for your enemy to hit, but they're only at +2. And then it doesn't matter if they have 2 medium lasers, that's 10 damage. And I would rather have that. Most of the lights that I drive are like 2 to 3 medium lasers minimum. So they're putting out 10 to 15 damage at +2 to hit because they just ran. But they're like +4 or +5 to be hit back without cover and all of that stuff. So, you know, your lights are more prone to hit with their weapons than any other thing in your army without having to face return fire badly. You know, because if you can put your opponent on 10s, 11s, and 12s, I'll take those numbers all day long. And the Panther's just not good. Yeah, and the Wolfhound's really good. It just doesn't have the big weapon, right? But the Wolfhound hits a lot better. I think the Wolfhound has a large laser, right? Is there a Wolfhound with a PPC? Wolfhounds get really hot. But the Wolfhound is a better choice. Not random. No, it's not even a resin print. It's a ABS. It's a FDM printed. No support. Listen to him nerding. When I drive a mech.
If it were resin printed, probably would be fine.
Yeah, it's a large laser deal. That's what I'm saying. So I don't know. Large laser's not as effective and efficient. It's the 4 medium lasers you take the Wolfhound for. The large is just a bonus. It gives you the way to do some damage on the way in. But it's an aggressive mech too. It's just not as good as other choices you have. I would rather take a light that didn't have the large laser but had the 4 mediums and moved a bunch faster than the Wolfhound too. It fits kind of in between there. I like the Wolfhound a lot. I did not put one in here. My lights are an Arctic Fox. It looks like a Kit Fox. Don't be fooled. 2 Raptors, which are like the first Intersphere Omnimechs. These guys are like 8, 12 movers with 5 medium lasers, aka stupid as hell. So you definitely double up on those. Spiders. This is a Venom. Venom's like 3 or 4 medium pulse lasers. Commando. I have a spider, a real spider. I don't remember the variants that I'm using on all these. Javelin, of course. The fire javelin was 7 medium lasers, I think. He's a hero. He only moves, I don't know if you remember 6'9" or 7'11", but, and then of course a Jenner, 7D, have to, Mongoose, and a Locust. Because Locust. Right? You have to have a Locust. If you ever played Crescent Hawk's Inception, you must own a Locust mech, and you must play it as often as possible. So those are all my lights, right? 3, 6, 9, 10. Yeah, 10. 10?
Random J. Berry, none of these are the OG Ironwind models.
No, I don't have any metal ones here. They're either the new plastics from Catalyst or 3D printed designs from MechWarrior 4, 3, or MechWarrior Online.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's my lights in this whole thing. Those are all great. My mediums are a Phoenix Hawk, of course. 2 Wolverines, because best mech ever. Here's the second one. A Griffin, because again, best mech ever. Oh, I'm sorry, I have 11 lights. I have a Spectre as well, which is also very, very good. And then Infield, Whitworth, Centurion, Trebuchet, Crab, because Crab, got to do Crab things. And then the Whacker of Bushes.
The
and
whacker of bushes.
And a Hunchback. I think that's all the mediums. Right. And the Hunchback, I can't remember which Hunchback I take. I take the 4 medium lasers, 2 LRM-10 one, I think. Or J or something like that. I don't remember. So not the noted one. Somebody makes an STL of the one with the LRM, so if I can pick it up, I'll do that and paint it, because I don't take the one with the big hunch. I don't take the 4P that has like 8 medium lasers either, because it gets too hot. I think it's a pretty well-rounded group of mediums. Yeah, all the dropships from them, Cathadics, look really good. They're just, none of them are carriers except for this one, I don't think. Heavies, we take whatever this guy's called. I can't remember. I don't remember what that guy's called. Catapult, Marauder, Penetrator, Cataphract, Archer, Orion, Grasshopper, 2 Crusaders, because again, some of my favorite mechs of all time. One of them, the jumping one with way too many SRM-6s. Warhammer. And Avatar. Avatar. Back here. Right. Oh, and a Thunderbolt, too. A lot of heavies. And then just 5 assaults. I didn't really want to take 5. I was only going to take 3, but then we came up with the idea of having the battalion plus a command lance. So I take an Awesome, Battlemaster, Zeus, Highlander, and a Banshee. So again, not trying to go too overboard. I thought about taking a Night Star and an Atlas and all that. Then I backed down. I don't want to have 100-tonners in there. You can always drop $500 on a mech scale 3D print Union class drop. They make one. Is it $500? That's silly.
For a print?
Yeah.
What the heck?
Captain Howdy, how you doing? Quick question about your primer. How does it do on metal? It does very well, but it is a lighter polymer, and so if you're doing a lot of metal miniatures, I would probably suggest a heavier polymer primer. I prefer rattle can primers basically on metal, believe it or not. A good automotive matte black primer is the best. Nothing's going to keep primer on a metal model, but acrylic in all its water-based forms for primers, no matter how heavy the poly is, are not great. They rub off. We still paint metal miniatures around here with them, very rarely because we don't play games with a lot of metal miniatures, but you can do it. You'll need a good heavy varnish at the end to give you a little bit more protection, because it's the sharp corners, especially for like metal mechs and stuff where they have the sharp edges on them and stuff. That'll always rub off. A metal Mephiston, the old one. Great model. Kind of funky. Wanderer, you had about 400 mechs and 91 vehicles. Awesome. Awesome. On the blue card ones, the old Ral Partha ones, when they were making them for FASA. That's awesome. Like the old spindly, like Spider and Panther. Some of the lights were as tall as the assault mechs. The scale was all wrong. They were really wonky. Smack wheels, so you got the old weird cool mechs. There are some that are just phenomenal sculpts, right? They just odd looking sculpts. Yeah, I'm just not a fan of the metal anymore. These are more my style, you know, with all of the MechWarrior games and MechWarrior Online and all that stuff. The style has really progressed where I like it. It's not as, it can be more samey now than back then, because some of the mechs were just total weird, whacked out designs. The Ost mechs and all of the Omni mechs for the Inner Sphere and stuff were just crazy. Like nuts. So some of that was really fun, right? But yeah, the quirky style is fun. You found your first purchases from 1991. That's awesome. Somewhere in storage, I have a little fishing tackle box that I hope still has my original Battletech lance.
Really?
Yeah, it has a Spider, an Orion, a Battlemaster, and a Whitworth. I think it's a Whitworth. And that would have been my, or maybe it was a Wolverine. That would have been my lance, and that would be the Battlemaster I won my first painting competition with.
Oh, awesome. I would
But
love to
there's
see
a
that.
part of me that thinks when I got to Arizona, I threw that away.
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think there was a part of me that remembers throwing that case away. So I'm hoping I'm wrong, but there's a part of me that thinks I threw it away. like a lamb phoenix hawk or something like that, or a lamb wasp or stinger or something. Mauler, griffin, and a shoebox. Yeah. Your parents lent you 5 pounds to get. That's awesome. Barry, it's nice to have a cohesive design with mechs. I do enjoy it. You know, I did go out because the Spectre has always been a fan favorite of mine, and it's a weird design. The OG metal Spectre was even weirder. This one kept the weirdness, the kind of alien lines of the Spectre, but with my paint job, still doesn't make it feel too alien in and amongst the rest of the mechs.
No, I think it
It
blends
works.
in nicely.
It works. It's got a little bit sharper lines to it, you know, just through the torso. Not a whole lot of big, flat, chonky panels like everybody else, you know. Looks like a bunch of big riveted panels compared to this sleek, you know, Ferrari mech. But it still works okay with the paint job. I'm not mad at it. The Mongoose is a little weird. I don't like the new Mongoose style as much. But the old one I don't like either, so this is the lesser of two evils on these guys. The Mongoose is a really good mech, so I didn't want to get rid of it. Yeah, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of all of them. They all good. Smack Weasel, thank you for the sub. Welcome. Glad you found us. Your first lance was a Warhammer, Rifleman, Shadowhawk, and Wasp or Stinger. Yeah. That sounds about right? I mean, that was what it was. You know, you got to remember back when the first tech readout came out, it was like the 3056 or 3052 tech readout or whatever it was. It had the Marauder on front that was kind of half drawn and half rendered, like architectural drawing or whatever. I still have that book. And the mechs that were in it were pretty much all you had, right? And so it had a lot of the Macross ripoffs, the Dougram ripoffs. I'm trying to think. We talked about it the other day, what the original ones were that were in it. The Clint might have been an original one. The Victor was probably an original one. The Atlas, I think, was original. I mean, I know the Atlas was original, but it was in there.
Just throw back my
So-
legs and pollute my britches with delight.
I think a Catapult was an original one. It was in there.
Oh. Creepy. I need to go take a look at the Discord when we're done with the stream.
Wander 3025. Yeah.
Apparently there's a cool little surprise in the Discord finished models
What?
for me to look at.
He's just showing off.
Yeah, creepy. Okay.
Mo, you sent an email. When did you send it? Ping me on Discord to remind me, Mo, or I'll forget.
Is
But
this
yes, I will
from,
definitely look.
To get his model back?
It may have gone to my spam. I don't check my spam folder near enough. Yeah, we're doing Mecha May. We have a Discord channel with thousands of artists on there talking miniature nonsense all the time. And Baby J picked Mecha May for our challenge this month.
Well, we all kind of came to that one together.
So taking a model that is all meta or metal, you know, I'm doing mechs and he's over there doing a dreadnought. But the idea being that pick a model that is all metal, right? And use no metallic paints on it. It doesn't mean you have to do non-metallic metal painting. It just means we want to see how you weather it and how you make it look like it feels like it's metal without using metallic paint. So a lot of fun going on there. But a great chance to dive into Battletech and paint a bajillion mechs if you want. So there you go.
True.
We have a bajillion mechs.
Still got work to do on this thing.
Taryn got the Discord up. Nice.
Metal God for the 45 months.
Yeah, and Metal God, thank you for the follow.
Thank you for the
Thank you for the
subscribe.
resub. And Miserum, thank you for the follow.
Thank you for the follow.
Good to see you, Metal God. How you been? But yeah, I think my first, that first Lance, we were called the Red Wyvern Battalion.
I'll just throw back
I
my
remember,
legs
I
and
made a
pollute
logo.
my britches with delight.
We had the Battlemaster was our assault mech. We had the Spider as our light, and we also had a Locust. We had a Whitworth
Hey, somebody
and an
likes
Orion,
us.
and that was the Lance. The Spider and the Locust changed out depending on what we needed. Because the Locust obviously doesn't jump. The Spider's better, I think. Doing good, got a few days off. Nice, time to paint.
Have fun.
Do some art. Art on the weekend.
I'd love to paint some this weekend.
I'm
but
going to
be
do...
busy.
well, you can't. You have to go to California.
I have to go to California. That's right. That's right. I gotta go to California.
You have to go to California.
What am I doing with my life?
What are you doing with your life?
Going
I mean,
to
you can stay and
California,
paint.
apparently.
You can tell Jacob to tough it out and go alone.
Good.
You could. You can be that guy.
I still have the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, you do. Because you're not in a car
I
driving
will
to
have
California
spent,
yet.
I will have spent $30 to say that to him.
Well.
Because I had to buy the ticket.
Creepy says, why would you go to California? They're doing a card game tournament for a card game that just came out a week ago
That I've never played.
that he's never played, that Jacob's played like a handful of times. And they're going to a tournament, which, God's honest truth, that sounds awesome.
It's gonna be fun.
Like, that's right up my alley.
We're gonna have a great time.
I'm actually jealous. But I don't like the card game, so not good enough reason to go to California. If you're just going to Palm Springs and coming home, it's kind of like staying in like West Arizona. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. But yeah, I'll be here. I gotta do the basing. We did these guys and got them up to snuff today with the weapons finished out and the armor and green finished out. Now I still gotta do the bases so I get the red earth on them all. And those 7, I think, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The Marauder. Those 7 need to get their bases done, and then I think this weekend I can finish these.
Yeah, you should.
I gotta
you should,
highlight
'cause you
some of
got a model to paint next
the deserty tan armor, and probably go up and retouch some of the green highlight that I've done. But I think I can finish them so that Monday I feel good about starting the Death Knight.
Yeah.
Mm.
And on the flip side, I'm feeling really good about how this scheme is coming together.
Nice.
I'm pretty in love with it. I put the basing texture on there,
Yeah,
and
it
I
looks
think
really good.
that color basing texture I also really like.
The brown?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good, right?
Because what I want to do with this, imagine this in this brown with a light dry brush of like a gray or like a brown gray mix.
Yep.
And then some like dirty brown like dead grass tufts.
Oh yeah.
With a little bit of green to it. So it's got some color, and then snow on top of it.
Ooh, yay! Because you were wanting to do the snow.
Yeah, I think snow would be a cool little addition to put in there.
I think changing your gold over did a big number on that.
Oh,
so.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, very, very good.
And I'm going to get that other Horus so I can paint baby Horus
Oh, are you buying it from
Gosu.
From
yeah.
Gosu?
Yeah.
Gosu, you tricky bastard.
Yeah.
You owe me a finder's fee. You wouldn't know this guy if it wasn't for me, Gosu.
Yeah, you should pay him a finder's fee considering you got it for free. Gosu. Did he tell you about this thing yet?
No, what? He got the thing for free and he's selling it to you?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
graft.
Yeah, he
The
did.
graft is real.
He ordered a Perturabo.
Gosu says now they're all against me.
Yeah. Yeah, Gosu ordered a Perturabo, but they sent him on Horus on accident.
Oh, what? And then he got the Perturabo too.
Correct.
Oh,
Yeah, they let him keep
lucky bastard.
They let him keep it, and then the Perturabo.
Hear me out, baby J. Ash
snow?
snow. Like a bright gray ash instead of like snow. That would be even better. You could still make it feel like snow, but it's ashes. So you could do like you could paint it up, do like a black wash to get it grimy, and then highlight it back up, make it ashen. I like this. Creepy winner. He owes you a lunch.
We're gonna have to figure out exactly how to do it to make it look convincing, but I'm totally down. Especially since we have painted Big Daddy Horuses, which is basically him at the time of the invasion.
Yep.
So, oh yeah. Well, I'm all about this.
Random Barry says, how do you get a glaze without any medium? Just water will get you there. You just have to be very careful, and I'll show you real quick before we close down shop today. We're going to color here. let's do khaki. Something that I can glaze over the colors on my thumb here. So the biggest key with glazing, right? We have a video on my YouTube that will show you as well. Exclamation point YouTube in chat. But the biggest thing with glazing is controlling the consistency of moisture on your brush. So here is the brush that I just rinsed in the water cup, and you see it's just filled with water as it can be. I haven't washed it, I haven't rubbed it off on the side of the cup or anything like that, right? No squeegee. So if I just come in here, rinse it, right, and do this, that's as much water as it'll hold. There's like a droplet of water running down the side there. So I will go and take that much water and touch it into my paint droplet, and now it will insta-thin my paint. Then I come back over here onto my thumb, right, and I'll take most of that material off, right? See how thin that paint is? Okay?
Well, huzzah,
So now with
huzzah.
that color,
Throw
I
back
can
my
go
legs
in and start
pollute my
glazing.
britches with delight.
And you'll notice that all it does is give me a very, very light filter over that color on my thumb. So use all that water if you want just a touch of color, right? To give you an idea, khaki with no thinning is like that, okay? So now if I want to get somewhere in between those two, I will rinse my cup off. Let me do this. Let me go here, right? I'll rinse my cup off, or rinse my brush off with the cup. And then, oh, I don't have my thing in there anyway, so never mind. Right? Then I'll take the paper towel, and so it's still got as much water as it can hold, and I'll go like once, hit it on the paper towel. So now I've gotten rid of a bunch of the moisture. Then I'll go over into my paint, right? So now I'm still instantly thinning my paint, but it's not as thin as this first pass, right? You see how thin it was on that first pass? Now it'll be less thin. I still want to take most of the material off, and then when I come over here and I glaze, you'll notice that you get more color instantly. Right? And just keep adjusting like that. But no matter what you do, have moisture on your brush to thin the paint with, or thin the paint on your palette, whichever you're comfortable with, but leave moisture on your brush, then you want to get rid of most of it. Glazing is a very wasteful process because you'll load your brush up with a bunch of color, and then you want to get rid of most of it, because the worst thing when glazing is to go over and touch the model with a very loaded brush, like with, you know, this kind of moisture on it. See how shiny the brush is? Right? That's really thin paint. But if I go and, let's just grab a test model here that'll make sense. What do I have, anybody? I have to have something. This guy. This poor guy gets used all the time. Used and abused, right? So if we look at this guy, right, and we go on and we now try to paint with this, we have so much moisture that it's very thin paint, but it's going to pile up and get all cloudy, right? Act like almost like a wash. See how we get a lot of pigment flowing down because of the wetness and leaving just a little bit behind, right? So we're going to have all that moisture built up. Do it over this whole panel here real quick. It's still glazing. The paint's very thin, as you can see, but notice how it runs into all of these spots. So now you got to go like wipe your brush off, get it dry, and come and try to sop those spots up, right? You'll mop them up with a dry brush, maybe soak out the line in there, like so, right? And you can do that, but now you have an inconsistent amount of paint on the area you were trying to glaze, right? And it get cloudy, and you can mess it up by going in with a dry brush and sopping it out, you know? So just make sure you take all that, or not all, but enough of the moisture off over here that it feels like you almost don't have any color left, and then go over here and glaze. Because I'll show you again. Get the brush wet, come grab some of that wet khaki, get rid of a bunch of it. I just use the side of my hand. Then come over here, and as I start glazing that on, you'll notice I still get pigment, right? But it's very, very light. It allows me to build it up over time and multiple layers as I need. You can be as aggressive as you want based on the color you're trying to achieve. But I can get a nice kind of light highlight going here, when it didn't look like I had much color left on the model or on the brush at all. And what you learn is to start adjusting between this. This is just a hint of color, because not only was it super thin, but I got rid of most of it. Versus this, which is too much. This is more like you were trying to do a base coat, and you just left the paint too wet. Right? So in between, you'll start finding the soft, like kind of the perfect spot for how you like to paint. I don't like doing a lot of layers, so I generally leave a little bit more. Right, so I'll do a couple of swipes over here, and then come back, and I'll want to see more of the paint in one stroke. Like so. So I don't have to glaze 15 layers, because glazing, if you don't pay attention, can wind up soaking all of the time you spend on the model up. Right. But achieve the same result over here this time as I did doing it twice over here. Yeah, and every brush is different. Like I say, make sure to load your brush up with moisture and then wick it away. Every brush holds a different amount of moisture. Even if you have the same manufacturer, 2 number 2s, they may, you know, load and unload paint just a hair differently. And when glazing with specifically bright colors, you might notice that. So Dealer of Death, you have Blast from the Past posters like Battletech ones? Put them in main. Put them in main over there. Xenobon, thank you for the Twitch Prime. That's it from us, guys. Thanks for hanging out, watching some paint dry with us.
Thank you so much.
We will be back Monday, but stick around. We're going to find somebody to raid right now.
Hopefully
so we'll send you
I
off with some
survive
more
the
goodness
weekend.
before the weekend comes. Have a wonderful weekend.
See you
Enjoy
guys.
it. Don't do anything we wouldn't do, which means you can pretty much do anything because he's driving to California on a whim.
Yeah, I'm going
So-
on a road trip.
So just do whatever, man.
Do
just get
whatever,
crazy.
I guess.
But for those of you that are new here, thank you again for hanging out with us. Please hit that follow button. We stream Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from noon to 2, and Tuesday and Thursday from 2 to 5.
2 to 5.
You got it. So 5 times a week to get to catch up with it. We'd love to see you back here as much as possible. Thanks for hanging out. Stick around for the raid. Show some love in the channel we wind up in, and we'll see you on the flip side.
See you
Adios,
guys.
gang.